welcome back to the CoolFigurez channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is intended for adult collectors and not children. And welcome to episode 18 of Coffee and Toys here on the CoolFigurez channel. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you stay notified when I do upload new content. And if you do enjoy this video or any other content that I put out, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It's free and easy for you to do, and it really helps the channel grow. With all of that out of the way, guys, once again, welcome to episode 18 of Coffee and Toys here on the CoolFigurez channel. 18, guys. We were 2 away from 20. And I know that doesn't sound like too many, but for me, that's a big milestone because my previous podcast that I was doing, the Toy News, Toy Talk one, I believe only made it to about 12 or 13 episodes until I, decided to change the name, revamp it a bit, change it up. It's kind of similar, but it's pretty different in the way that it flows and everything. And now I've made an even bigger change in the sense that I now hold a weekly live show on Instagram called Coffee and Toys Live every Wednesday. So I'm going to be having guests come on and I'm going to speak to them. And if you guys happen to miss it, don't worry, I will repost the lives after they're over. But on top of that, I will also be posting them at the end of these podcasts. So they are a part of the podcast. It's just the end part of the podcast. The first part's going to be, obviously introductions, the toy haul of the week, the toy news of the week, anything else we want to talk about. And then after all that, I'll go ahead and edit the live Coffee and Toys into the podcast, and that'll help give these podcasts some more length, as you can see in today's timestamp. It is a lengthy one, but it is a good one nonetheless because I had the honor and privilege of being able to talk to an amazing toy photographer named Jason B. Michael. If you haven't already, go ahead and give him a follow. I'll leave his Instagram handle right here. Check him out. I guarantee you, once you see his work, you'll definitely want to give him a follow. And so he was actually the first guest of the Coffee and Toys weekly live series. So thank you so much once again to Jason for coming on, giving me some of your time. I know you're a busy person, so I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to having you on the show again. And on top of all that, I look forward to doing our collaboration. I know you're still busy with the one that you're doing with Jason from Work More or Less, who will also be showing up on the live Coffee and Toys podcast coming up in a few weeks. So once you're done with that, we'll go ahead and talk about our collaboration and we'll get working on that. But until then, I look forward to seeing yours and the other Jason's collaboration shots. And good luck on those. And I hope it comes out just like you see it in your head. So we'll get to that interview later on in this episode. It was a lengthy one. We actually went live twice because midway through the conversation, the live feed just cut out and stuff. So I had to restart my phone. I had to turn it back on and do everything again. So it was a 2-parter, but it ended up being like about 2 hours in total when I edited it all together into one cohesive video and stuff. So that's where the bulk of the length of this podcast is. But like I said, it was a very good, interesting conversation. We talked anything from Mezco to toy photography to what got him into collecting and all that stuff. I'm not going to say too much about it anymore because you guys should just give it a listen and whatnot, and definitely check out Jason B. Michael over on Instagram. I highly recommend him, and you will definitely love his toy photography. So this coming week, we will have another live Coffee and Toys on Wednesday with the one and only Sleeping Collectibles. So look forward to speaking to him this coming Wednesday, and I hope to see you guys there. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and talk about this week's haul, which kind of is stuff we've already seen. So last week in the podcast, I did open up 2 packages that I had received like right as I was setting up for the podcast. And so it was, of course, the Mcfarland Toys I call Super Mega Figure, as well as the Hasbro Marvel Legends integrated Spider-Man suit from No Way Home. And I do have Cousin Eddie and Holiday Gomez here because, as you can see, they've had a change of attire. And I meant to show this off last week because this wardrobe change was a part of my Christmas gifts. However, it was so full of stuff, thankfully, that I didn't have space, and I figured, why not just carry it over to this week? So we'll take a closer look at them. But yeah, since these guys were in package and I didn't unbox them, I went ahead and decided to just put them on the table this week as new figures because I do technically have some new figures. However, One got delayed. One I have to go pick up. The other two, my friend Robert is going to be dropping off. And so he gets off work later on in the day after I film this. So I'll have all that fun stuff for you guys here on the table next week. But I didn't want the table to be completely empty, so I went ahead and brought these two figures over from last week. Like I said, since we didn't really get to see them, I just unboxed them out of the packages that they came in from the shipping. So today we'll actually get a nice closer look. Even though I have already posted my review of this Mega Swamp Thing figure, I still want you guys to check this thing out. It is massive. But like I said, we'll take a look at all this right now. I think first I want to take a look at Street Eddie right here. Street Eddie and Vacation Gomez did make their premiere on the Coffee and Toys Live with Jason B. Michael. However, that was a live, so the quality may not have been the best. So I want to give you all, including Jason, a nice closer look at my creation. So essentially, I just took the jumpsuit off of Cousin Eddie. I got some 1/12 pants, threw them on him, and I basically took the extra jacket that Street Gomez comes with and I threw it on him. If you got the Bodega box set, it came with a mezit that came with a little hat, which happens to fit perfectly on Cousin Eddie's head. And then I took the backpack and hoverboard from my Agent Gomez and threw it on top of him, and we have Street Eddie. So next up, we do have Holiday Gomez, which I said now is technically Vacation Gomez, it seems like, because he's wearing a tropical Hawaiian shirt and he's having a nice little drink while he's on his hoverboard. And as you can see, they are the pants that he came with. I didn't want to mess with that, but I did want to change the shirt up so that way I can actually utilize this figure year round instead of just making him a strictly holiday figure. So shout out to my girlfriend for the pants and the shirt. She actually got them for me for Christmas, so thank you so much. It really helped make these expensive holiday figures worth the purchase, since I can now utilize them year round. And then once, of course, the holidays come around, just take his shirt off, throw his holiday sweatshirt on, take his sweatshirt off, throw his jumpsuit on, because these pants were really hard to put on. There was a point where I didn't think they were going to go on because the shoes were just really fighting me, and thankfully I was able to slip them on without anything tearing or ripping, although I should have taken off the boxers first, because then that became another issue in itself. As you can see, the pants that he's wearing are kind of slim fit, so he does have the boxers underneath, but it would have been a better experience had I taken them off, so that way the pants would have just slipped on a lot easier. But I managed to get them on with the boxers on, and so you do get a nice, realistic look to his clothing right there. He is shirtless. I don't think I'm going to get him a shirt because this jacket does cover him up pretty well, so I don't think I need to waste money on another shirt, and this is actually a pretty cool look for him. So yeah, until next Christmas, and when I have to throw the the reindeer jumpsuit on him, then he's gonna stay like this. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to taking pics of these guys, especially Vacation Gomez. He is super cool, and I am really struggling to get the zipper back on. And give me 1 second, guys. You know what? Fuck it. Cousin Eddie is gonna, or I'm sorry, Street Eddie is going to stay unzipped for the episode. Sorry, guys, but it is what it is. So let me just pose him back up. So yeah. So next up, I want to go ahead and take a look at the integrated Spider-Man suit. And I have to admit, like I said, when I opened him up, this was an impulse purchase right after seeing the movie. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie, I am going to say a few things that tie into the movie and are spoilers about this figure. So the one thing I do have to say about this figure that is a gripe is that the webbing pattern isn't blacked out and outlined, so when you take pics of him, the detailing just kind of gets really washed out. So that's the one thing I don't like about him. But the reason this was such an impulse buy after seeing the movie was because I still have my Tobey Maguire figure from back in the day, and I definitely need to be doing some toy photography pics with this guy and him and my Goblin figure from back in the day. So that's going to be some real fun. I don't have an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man figure because I just wasn't into those movies. And I wasn't into collecting at the time. I was in high school, so it just wasn't something that I was doing. And to get one of those figures now is way too expensive, especially after that movie came out. I'm sure the prices are through the roof. So I will be doing some toy photography with this guy and my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Willem Dafoe Green Goblin sometime soon. Like I said, the only thing that I do not like about this figure is that the webbing isn't, outlined in black. And it's a very minor thing, but when you're taking photography of this guy and the light is shining on him, it just really washes out those webbing details that you really want to pop and come out in your Spider-Man. So it is what it is. I'm not artistic enough and steady-handed enough to go in there and, utilize a black paintbrush or marker or however you want to do it to get in there. My hands just aren't that steady. So he's going to remain the way he is, unfortunately, unless my friend Robert graciously offers to paint him up for me. But I'm not going to bug him with this if he's not going to offer, because it's just, I can already tell it'd be a really tedious thing. And yeah, I honestly would, I'd have to pay him for that, because like I said, is just, the webbing is so small, so it's hard work in a sense. It's tedious work. But anyways, let me see if I could get Spidey to stand. You would think the one figure that would stand here would be the one that has grippy feet, but watch, one little I knew it. And then there's Swamp Thing, you push over and nothing happens. Okay, let's see. Let's get him on the stand. There we go. Okay, so the next figure I do want to take a look at is this Mcfarland Super Mega Swamp Thing. And I dubbed this thing a Super Mega figure because he towers over the Mcfarland Mega figure, Darkseid and Steppenwolf, and even Violator. So this guy, in my opinion, is a Super Mega figure, because here he is crouched down, but wait till I actually put him in full, just standing straight up position, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck? This thing is just absolutely massive and giant. And this is one of the reasons why I did want to bring him out and put him on the table this week, is so that we can do this comparison, because in the box itself was massive, obviously, to contain this guy, but here you can really see the size of him. And as you can see, Street Eddie is tiny compared to him, and even more so is Spidey right here. And as you can see, he is just absolutely tiny compared to him. So this guy is humongous, and I absolutely love him. I absolutely love oversized figures, and green is my favorite color, so obviously I have to love this figure. He did arrive New Year's Eve, so it's kind of hard though, because I really want him in the running of 2022 of the best figures, even though he literally arrived New Year's Eve of 2021. I'm going to consider him a 2022 figure, because he is just amazing. Not only is he amazing color-wise, height-wise, but also sculpt. My only main gripe with him is that he is lacking just a little bit of color. And now I know I said I love green, and this guy's just straight green, but he happens to have some flowers right here on his back, which I really think would have done a lot better and stood out a lot more had they gone in and just kind of hit them with a little bit of paint, colored and whatnot, just to make him stand out from all this amazing sculpted greenery and stuff on him. So as you can tell, I absolutely love this figure. It is one of my favorites right off the back as soon as I pulled him out and started messing with him. And like I said, my review for him is already up, so go ahead and check that out, and check out my pics of this guy over on Instagram at CoolFigurez, as well as Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. And I can't wait to utilize this guy, because like I said in my review, I'm not actually a Swamp Thing fan. Like, I've never actually seen a Swamp Thing movie, animated show, TV movie, or read a comic or anything, but I love big figures. I love the color green, and this guy can definitely be utilized in some crossover toy photography, as with, Gomez, or even Street Eddie, or Doc Knock, or Batman. He is a DC character, so there's a lot of potential for me to be able to use him in toy photography. So I look forward to that and having a lot of fun. He may be the thing is, he's huge, so that's gonna be hard, but I would really love to take Swamp Thing to Hawaii with me, to take some toy photography of him on that beautiful island. I just feel like it'd be one of the most perfect figures to take for that. We'll see if I have some space in my luggage. I am planning on taking my World of Halo figures, smaller scale, a little easier to hold and manage, and I could take a few more and whatnot. I may take one Master Chief that I have, obviously not my Thousands Toys one, but one of my Jazzwares one, just to take to photograph and whatnot, but we'll see. But I'm leaning more towards Halo figures this time, opposed to the Star Wars ones like I took last time. Last time I took I took my credit collection Mando because I thought the colors would pop really well on the island, and they really did. I took some Shore Troopers. I took my Zero from the Mandalorian Black Series figure, and I took a few other ones I actually didn't end up using. But yeah, I think this time I go, I'm gonna try to take my Swamp Thing and one or two Spartan collection figures, as well as a few World of Halo figures. But we'll see when we get there. So. But until then, guys, we have time to decide. So with that being said, that is this week's haul. Like I said, next week I will have some stuff for you guys here on the table. Like I said, one got delayed. It was supposed to be delivered today, and then it got delayed. And so it made it to California today, but it's not going to get delivered today, most likely tomorrow. So that'll be on the table next week. I have to go pick up a figure that I agreed to buy on OfferUp for a really good price compared to what it retails for. So I have to go pick that up later tonight. So once again, that figure will be on the table next week. And then, like I said, my friend Robert has two figures for me. I told him to return one. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'll have to see. So I may have 1 to 2 from him. But like I said, he gets off later after I finish filming. So he'll stop by after and drop them off. And who knows, any other pre-orders that happen to come in, because there's always something that just randomly gets dropped. And, you know, people are starting to find that Year 2 Batman statue figure. And I am really, really, really hoping to find that soon. I've been wanting it. It was bullshit when they canceled my order. So I'm really fucking hoping to find that soon. So we'll see. But with that being said, guys, why don't we move on over to this week's toy news, because the second portion of this podcast is already long enough, so I shouldn't make this one any longer. It's already going to take forever to upload. I'm hoping to have it done Friday night, which is when I film is Friday, but I'm hoping to have it all edited done by Friday so I can leave it overnight on Friday to upload it, and it's already ready for Sunday. But we'll see when we get there, guys, right? We got to get through this part first and then get through all that. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and talk about the news? So this week's news is once again very, very slim. Obviously, it's just after the holidays. There's been so many countless delays from last year, and I hear it's about to get worse. So I feel like toy companies are really starting to pull back. You know, first it was like, okay, you know, there's a few delays here and there. We can still push out some things here. Pre-order this, pre-order this. Now I feel like they're like, oh shit, they've pre-ordered so much and none of it's come in. And then the stuff that does come in is in like a group of stuff. So then it's all at once. And we're going to ask them to pre-order some more. I think toy companies are finally coming to that realization that that's not the best course to go, you know, with us toy collectors, because as much as we want these things, for them to just hit all of a sudden, it sucks, you know. It's especially when they give us a date and we're like in our head, okay, we'll have that, and then this is supposed to release then. And I understand stuff happens, especially now during the crisis and everything, but I feel like toy companies should have came to this realization a lot sooner. And it honestly hinders and hurts my YouTube, because obviously the news is short, which means less stuff comes out, which means less stuff for me to review for you guys. However, I think in the long run, it's better for collectors and the toy industry, because they're not just asking for your money for things that they know you're not going to see for months, if not a year. So I feel like they're really starting to just slowly trickle out information right now, until stuff gets better and stuff that we've already pre-ordered, you know, months ago in 2021 starts to get in our hands. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with Mcfarland Toys. So they announced a few things this week. One that got some significant backlash from the toy community. They announced a Drifter Bruce Wayne figure in their DC Multiverse line and a Drifter motorcycle. However, the Drifter Bruce does come in a variant. So there are two Drifter Bruces. The first one that they showed off, which, as you can see why it got backlash, I mean, it just looks absolutely horrendous, horrible. Honestly, they posted this, I believe, on New Year's Day, if I'm not mistaken, or the day after, and literally everybody had already pinned this to like the board of the top 10 ugliest worst figures of 2022. Day one, they're like, we're starting off like this. Okay, thankfully this is a Target exclusive, and as we know, Target exclusives are not easy to come by, or not plentiful. Watch this one be. but the other one isn't the best either that you can pick up at any other toy retailer. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a hell of a lot better than the completely unmasked Bruce Wayne, but this one still just doesn't do it for me either. And there was a scare that they were going to pair this figure up as a box set with the Drifter motorcycle. Thankfully, however, that has been debunked and they are separate purchases. So you have to buy the completely unmasked Bruce Wayne by itself, the somewhat masked Bruce Wayne by itself, and the Drifter bike by itself. So thankfully that is the way they're going, because I am only going to be picking up that Drifter motorcycle. And I saw somebody post on Instagram like, oh, I wonder if it's going to fit the Mezco White Skull and all this. And yes, if you're wondering if the McFarlane vehicles will fit in Mezco figures, they actually fit them perfectly, believe it or not. I feel like the McFarlane vehicles are more tailor-made for the Mezco figures, whereas the DC Multiverse figures are just too big. They kind of sit a little too big on the vehicles, and Mezco figures look perfect on them. So if you're wondering, that Drifter bike will look good for your Mezco figures or any other 1/12 scale figures that you have. Even I believe Mafex should be 1/12 scale, right? I think they're the same size as Mezcos. I don't do Mafex, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, so if you're wondering, that bike will fit your 1/12 figures. So they did also announce a second Batman Beyond wave with 3 new figures, or 2 new figures and a repack, or a repack with the new head sculpt, with a repack with new hands and head, with a repack? I don't know. Anyways, it'll make more sense when I actually tell you what figures are in this wave. So first up, we have the Unmasked Bat Woman Beyond. That's why I said it's a repack with the new head sculpt. Batwoman Beyond Unmasked. So that's an option. Also, Ink as Batman Beyond, which came out in the previous waves, or at least was seen in stores with the previous waves, is now being re-released and is up for pre-order with this wave. So if you want that figure, it's up for pre-order now. And lastly, they did announce a variant Blight figure called the Meltdown variant, where his dome is all staticky, his hands are all pulsing and everything. So that does come with, different effects than the previous version. It is at the regular $20 price point opposed to the $25 price point, and it is not a Target exclusive. All 3 are up for pre-orders at multiple toy retailers, so if you're looking for those figures, go get them. So that basically wraps up the McFarland toy news for this week. I think they're still kind of trying to ride off last week's news, which was a very lackluster Build-A-Figure wave, which I totally can see clearancing out. And watch me be wrong. I mean, the Bane wave clearanced out. The Bane wave. I mean, I know it's not the best Bane, but it's still a known rogue from the Batman's Rogue Gallery, and that hit clearance. And this is the Giant Frost King that I personally have never heard of and stuff. And so we'll see how this wave does. But in my opinion, I think it's going to clearance out. So if you want it, I'd wait to see how it does, because I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing it much like the Eternals Marvel Legends, just chilling on the shelf. So next up, I do want to talk about our favorite fucking store as collectors, Wall fucking Mart. So I got an email on Monday, the day before it was supposed to be delivered, that my Batman Who Laughs with Robin multi-pack was canceled due to insufficient inventory. I placed my order literally seconds after it went up, and they canceled mine. And yet I've seen other people get theirs in the mail. So, I mean, obviously it's nothing against them, because they had no say in whether theirs got canceled or not. Just like the Batman Year 2 statue figure, mine got canceled. A lot of people are receiving theirs in the mail now. So can't hate them for getting the product. I hate the distributor for what they've done. So Target and Walmart, it's just so frustrating when you do that shit. You literally pre-order it seconds after it goes up. I remember waking up for that Batman, and like 2 minutes before it was on, and as soon as it was on, I got mine. and they went and canceled it. And same thing with this Joker, Batman Who Laughs multi-pack. I bought it as soon as it went up, and they canceled it. So, yeah, just be aware of that. Check your emails or check your mailboxes. You may have gotten it in. I hope you guys really did get it in. I'll be honest. I hope mine was one of the few that got canceled. I mean, obviously, mine wasn't the only one, but I hope there was fewer cancellations than deliveries. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyways, guys, let's move on over to some other news. We're going to be talking about another toy company that we don't really talk about here, but I do dip my toe in every now and then, especially with the Batmobiles back here, and that is Jada Toys. They did announce an exclusive Entertainment Earth creature from the Black Lagoon, which glows in the dark. I am really on the fence on getting this figure because Creature from the Black Lagoon is one of my favorite horror films from back in the day. Obviously, he's a creature. He's green. So obviously that alone is the appeal. But even before that, it's obviously it's a black and white movie, so there's no color there. Obviously later on it was colorized and depicted as a green creature, but until then we didn't really know. So I've just always loved that film. And then when you go on the tour at Universal, you get to see where it was filmed and everything. And yeah, now I've seen it a few times. I've gone on that tour. I can be like, oh yeah, that kind of does look like the shoreline right there and stuff. And you can see like, oh, okay, they added this here, so it looks a little more foresty and whatnot. So it's a really cool movie. And so I'm really on the fence because I know NECA Toys is going down that Universal monster line, but they just haven't teased or announced a Creature from the Black Lagoon figure. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know they're going down that line, and obviously he's a classic Universal monster, so it would make sense that eventually they're going to get to him. And it's not like the line isn't doing well. A lot of people are buying it and stuff. So it's just, do I wait till they announce it and get that one NECA figure? Or do I fill the hole in my collection for the time being with the Jada Toys version and, eventually pick up the NECA one once it's announced and released, obviously. Decisions, first world problems, the life of a toy collector. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the final news of this week. Like I said, it's very short and sweet and to the point this week. So unlike me, where I always like to ramble and talk, that's just the way I do things. So yeah, guys, Super 7 is what's going to wrap us up for this week. And they did announce a brand new Simpsons Wave. Now, I do have a slight gripe with Super 7, and that is that they have this tendency to announce and solicit pre-orders for figures when they've yet to fulfill, previous Wave pre-orders and figures. Now, what I mean by that is they put up the G.I. Joe Wave 1 figures for pre-order. $55 a piece, guys. That is not fucking cheap. $55 fucking dollars a piece. So obviously, it's an investment. You're waiting. You're not going to see a return on this money that you're putting forth right away. They have to, send the number out to the factories and make the figures and then send the figures back and make sure everything's good and then send them out to the people that bought them and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. But it's still, fact of the matter is, it's $55 a figure, and obviously these aren't, I guess some of these figures you can pick and choose, but the way they've done it is very smartly. Obviously they pick figures that they know people are going to want the whole wave. It's very far and few in their lines that people can look at their line and their waves and go, you know what, I just want one or two. They tend to pick some really fucking good characters, I have to admit. That is a good choice. And they're made to order. It's not like you're going to find these in stores later. I mean, you will, but at a marked up rate, obviously, like comic book stores or, third party stores, Frank and Sons, conventions, all that other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's still $55 a piece. Now, I don't mind waiting. But the thing that I find an issue with is while I'm waiting for my 55 times, was it 4 figures in a way that they do, or 5 figures even? While I'm waiting for that, they're slapping up promotional images and solicitations for Wave 2. Which obviously, if you're in this line, if in terms of like collecting and all that stuff in line, I wasn't saying this line of work, but it's not really work, it's just a hobby. If you're in this line of collecting, and in this line specifically, you're gonna want the second wave to complete the first wave. You're gonna want those figures. However, what if when those first initial figures come in, you just don't like them? There's always that possibility. Not everything has to be perfect. Not everything, just because it's Super 7, someone can get their figures in, look at them, and be like, you know what, these weren't what I wanted. These aren't what I thought they were going to be. And I want to get rid of them, or I don't want them anymore, But while you're coming to that conclusion, you've already pre-ordered the second wave because of what you were, it's just, Super 7 is just, that's just my own little slight gripe with them. They did that with the G.I. Joe, and now they're doing it with a second franchise, and which makes me really leery into getting into Super 7. Even though I do have the 4 Turtles on pre-order, that is all. I don't think I'm going to get anything else from them. I kind of do want the Shredder, but I don't know. We'll see if I find it for a good price or not, or if they re-release them. But that's what makes me a little leery to get into Super 7, is the fact that they solicit orders before they can even fulfill the initial orders. And I do have a few Ninja Turtles on order, like the the Sewer Samurai Leo, the Sewer Surfing Mikey, as well as, like I said, the 4 basic turtles, the Mousers, Krang, some of just like the unique figures, the more unique ones. I don't need anything else. Like I said, I may get a Shredder. I may actually even sell the regular Super 7 turtles once I get them. I might just turn around and resell them at just a few dollars over the price to get my money back and whatnot. But I'm going to keep the variants, the Sewer Samurai Leo and the Sewer Surfing Mikey, because those are unique. NECA doesn't have those. Playmates doesn't have those. Well, obviously Playmates had them, but back in the day where these are bigger, updated, more, unique versions. So, I'm thinking I'm going to keep those and just get rid of the other ones. But we'll see what happens when I actually get them in hand. So I keep talking about Super 7 without talking about their news. So why don't we go ahead and get into it. Like I said, they did do this once again, what they did with the G.I. Joe line, which was solicit and show off Wave 1, have people pre-order them, and a little while later they solicited and pre-ordered Wave 2 without fulfilling Wave 1. And they are now doing this with their Simpsons franchise. So they announced Wave 1 and solicited Wave 1 about a month or two ago, and already they're hitting us with Wave 2 and solicitations for Wave 2 without even coming close to having fulfilled Wave 1. So and that's why I kind of don't want to get into the Animaniacs on these. It's just, one, $55 a piece for these guys is just a little stiff, and two, I kind of want to see what I get for my money before I start jumping into another wave with these figures. So, and obviously, you can say, well, it's Super 7, you should know what to expect from them. But that's the thing, guys. You can know what to expect from a toy company and either get something horrible or something really great in return. There's been some figures from NECA that it's like, wow, this is a NECA figure. And then there's obviously been figures where you're just like, yeah, this is a NECA figure. Same thing with Mcfarland. You get one that looks like it has a diaper in the center. It's like, this is a Mcfarland figure. Then you get one that's like this, just giant, very well, beautifully sculpted, very well articulated. I mean, this guy can literally do the splits as a mega figure. He has, butterfly joints, rotations. The only thing is like a single hinge elbow joint, but he can still tuck in very well. So, you get figures like that. So it just, just because it's Super 7 doesn't mean you should expect anything or not expect anything. You just got to see it in hand. That's what I'm trying to say, is you got to wait till it's in hand. So, like I said, they did announce their Wave 2 of The Simpsons regardless, and these figures, once again, are some home runs with fans. Even me, that I'm a Simpsons fan. I enjoy The Simpsons. I haven't watched it in years in terms of like the new episodes. I've rewatched it on Disney Plus a few times, but in terms of like the newer episodes, that's usually when I tend to like take a nap. I'll rewatch the older episodes and be like attentive and like into it and whatnot. But as the seasons progress and it gets into the more recent ones, I tend to like, all right, I'm on my laptop editing, I'm on my phone doing something, I'm falling asleep, I'm doing something else, but it's playing in the background and whatnot. But like I said, even me, I was like, I may want to get into this line, but that's the thing, is like, I don't and I do, but we'll see. The 4 new figures that they announced for this wave of the Simpsons line is Bartman, Duffman, Hank Scorpio, and Krusty the Clown. That's right, folks. The four big hitters right there. I know they don't seem like it, but when you lay them all out right there, those are some pretty big characters in the Simpsons franchise. Obviously you have Bartman, which is just Bart, but dressed as Batman. So you have the Bart fans, the Simpsons fans, the Batman fans. I mean, I have a Michelangelo dressed as Batman. Maybe I do need a Bartman to put up there next to Batman's. It's Bart Simpson dressed as Batman. Who knows? So once again, a home run figure in that sense. You got Duffman. Obviously, it's fucking Duffman. Who doesn't need a fucking Duffman? Fuck, I might need a fucking Duffman. But then we got Hank Scorpio, who is a one-off character, but a very beloved one-off character. He had a very lasting impact on the fan base. He had a great episode. I think it was just his wackiness and wildness that kind of just drew everybody to him. And I think he was actually portrayed and voiced by a famous celebrity, so that added to him as well. If I remember while I'm editing, I'll do my research and I'll insert the name of the actor right here. If future editing Jesse will remember, most likely he'll be lazy and won't do it. I'm looking at you, future editing Jesse. Do the research, put the name. All right, anyways, and then last but certainly not least, we of course have the infamous clown prince of pies from Springfield, Krusty the Clown, and his monkey martini. So this guy is definitely a fan favorite, obviously. Krusty is probably right there next to the Simpsons in terms of characters that people know from The Simpsons. Obviously, The Simpsons, and then I think Krusty would be the next one under, especially with Universal and their main ride, being based around Krusty Land and whatnot. And then I think right next to Krusty would be Moe. I think it'd be the Simpsons family, Krusty, Moe, probably Mr. Burns, or Mr. Burns and Moe might be interchangeable, but I know that Krusty is right under the Simpsons family. But yeah, guys, with that being said, that wraps up the news for the first week of 2022, guys. Nothing too exciting, a few good stuff, but the year is just starting. It's looking okay. Let's see how stuff goes in terms of shipping delays. I personally am looking really forward to 2022, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be visiting Maui coming up in a few weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll be taking some toys, obviously, and I'm looking forward to all the lives I'm going to be doing every Wednesday on Instagram with a bunch of amazing, great guests. My goal in 2022 is to have a new guest on every single week, and once in a while I'll have Paige and Jason B. Michael come on once again because I just really enjoy talking with them, and I feel like we have a great conversation when we speak. And Paige will be coming on the show again next week. Like I said, is going to be Sleeping Collectibles, so I look forward to talking to him. And then following him will be the Toy Page. Once again, he'll be returning. Very fitting because, like I was telling Jason in the interview, it's because of him and Jason that I wanted to start doing lives. I saw their connection and their relationship on live. How it was just chill. It was just literally like they label it a hangout. And starting this channel, starting my Instagram, I wanted to connect with more collectors. And then, so that started my Instagram. And then I wanted to do more and connect more. So I started my YouTube. And then I was like, you know what? It's one thing to do reviews and stuff and hide behind a camera, but it's another thing to speak directly to your audience, to your followers, to your subscribers, to your supporters, face to face, put a face to the name and everything. And so that's why I started this podcast, because I wanted to give you guys some face time with me, so that way you guys can put a face to the name, to the voice that you guys get reviews from and stuff, And I know initially you guys see me here and there on my toy hunts and stuff, but those are very far and few. This isn't really a toy hunting channel per se. It's a toy review channel, and I guess at this point a toy news channel, but not really, because it's not like breaking toy news. It's more of like a coffee and toys. You're catching up. You're literally going out for a cup of coffee. You're catching up on the toy news, discussing some stuff. Nothing really breaking, just having a nice, good conversation over a nice cup of hot coffee. So, yeah, guys, I look forward to my lives. Like I said, very fitting that Paige is coming back. Is because of him and Jason that I started it. And then the week after the Toy Page, I'm going to have Old Republic Collectibles, which is a small toy company business. So I look forward to that conversation. I always enjoy helping little people out because, well, I am a little people. So, it's always good to help and support each other. And so after him, I will have Jason from Work More or Less on the live after that. So super excited. Got a lot planned for 2022. I hope you guys come along and enjoy the ride. But until then, let's get on over to part 2 of this podcast.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay, cool. I'm there.
All right, good, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear you fine.
All right, perfect, perfect. How you doing, man?
I'm well. Sorry I'm late. This is kind of my thing. I always show up late.
Oh, no worries, man. Don't worry. I'm the same way. So let me just get this to stay real quick. But all right, well, welcome to the first ever Coffee and Toys Live, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and Jason as well. I really do appreciate it. This is something I want to do every Wednesday if I can here on IG Live, just to connect and meet new people if I can. So I want to thank Jason so much for being my first guest here on episode 1. I really do appreciate it, man.
You bet. It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, actually, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually kind of fitting because it's actually because of you and Paige that I got into wanting to live and do these kind of things. You know, I saw how you guys interacted when you guys hang out. You guys are very just chill, laid back, and I was like, you know what? That's something I want to do, you know? And so after I invited Paige, I had a lot of fun talking to him live and stuff. And he mentioned that you'd be, you know, you seemed like you'd be interested in coming on and talking to me about Mezco and toy photography and all that stuff. And so we started talking and stuff. And obviously I invited you on. And so thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, it's fitting that you and Paige were my first 2 guests because you guys inspired this. So thank you so much.
Man, it's my pleasure. That's the last thing we want to do is try to inspire people. We're just doing our own little thing, and if people enjoy it, that's kind of cool. But yeah, did someone say Mesco? Their Paige is here. Hey, man. It's really fun. I like getting to know people in the community as well. It's always a pleasure, you know. And you know, it was one of those things where I was like, well, you know, if Paige did it, I'd be an asshole if I said no.
Nah. But I'm really happy that you came on, man, because honestly, it's kind of weird how things happen for me because I first found you because of your amazing toy photography, obviously, you know.
Thank you.
I got into Rumble Society, you're welcome, and Mezco and stuff, and I was like, you know, looking at all the tags and everything, and obviously your stuff pops up and stuff, and so I followed you.
Oh, good, still, that's great.
Yeah, it still pops up, man. It still pops up. And so I followed you for a while, and then I found Paige on YouTube when I personally just wanted to find some history on Mezco and stuff. You know, when I get into something, I don't just get into it a little bit. I kind of like dive deep into it. Like I like learning the history, where things are from and all that stuff. And so thankfully, obviously, Paige has his YouTube, and he does that. And from there, I found out that he does the live hangout with you. And so I was like, oh, you know, that's pretty cool that I didn't realize you guys had that relationship and that connection. And so I started checking out your guys' lives and stuff. And it's really cool. Like I said, you guys just chill, hang out, and I really like the dynamic that you guys have. And so I'm really gracious that you guys allowed me to come in and break that dynamic up just a bit every once in a while. And so I just have a few questions for you, really. That's what I want to get to. But how were your holidays, first and foremost, man?
They were really, they were bizarre but fun. And the reason is because, I'm in Quebec City, and for the holidays, they just kind of reissued like curfews and stuff like that because of COVID cases, rises and things. Yeah. So 10 o'clock at night to 5 a.m., we're not allowed to be outside or in the streets. We have to be inside our own homes. We're not allowed to mix with anybody either. So we're not even allowed to, like a family bubble or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
I was happy because we were able to go have supper with my in-laws like way back. So that was kind of fun. Then the kids were with us. We were supposed to go have supper with the in-laws again for Christmas, but I ended up being sick. I didn't catch COVID. We were going around town trying to find these rapid COVID tests because I was really feeling under the weather. But it became like a flu because my wife went to babysit our nephew, and he's at daycare, so he's it's one of those things where exactly, they're always sick, those little shits.
Kids are always sick, man.
And so that's it. So essentially, what happened is I had to kind of tell my in-laws, listen, I don't want to get anybody sick. I feel irresponsible for leaving the house. So we ended up staying here. I had to was popping Advil left and right, sleeping on the couch like a crazy moron and all that stuff. But we made it work. We made it work with the kids. So that was kind of cool. And we weren't sure to go visit my folks. We were supposed to go visit them for a couple of days. And so I was like, well, what do I do? Do I cancel that too? Because I still have the sniffles. And it turns out that my cold kind of just was on the way down.
Tapered
So
off and
we
everything.
figured, okay, yeah, exactly. So I was feeling quite well, just maybe a little snotty or whatever. And so we managed to go see my parents for 2 days. So that was really cool. Got to see my sister, which is really cool too. My nephew wasn't there. That sucked a little, but he was over with his father. But they're coming on Friday, so I'll be able to give him his Christmas present then. So that'll be really fun to see them again for that period. And yeah, so I mean, but with my wife, I mean, I spent the entire time with her. So I mean, it's never really a boring moment. We kind of chilled. So yeah, and then once I got back to Quebec, because my parents live in New Brunswick, that's when the curfew was issued. So we were supposed to have a New Year's holiday gathering again with the in-laws, and we decided not to go there because exactly. So it's kind of my wife and I have a great relationship, so it's not really stressful for us to just be locked in together. But it's just unfortunate because it would have been really fun to see people for a change, So yeah, it's getting a little bit frustrating to just stay home.
No, I get that because like with me too, I had kind of like a scare before going to
Judy's here.
my family.
Yeah,
I had a bit of a scare when I was going to my family and stuff. I literally got my results like as I was getting ready to go with my family. Thankfully, it was all negative and everything.
right.
But then it's like exactly how you said. We kind of wanted to do like a New Year's get together with my cousin and some other people. But it's like, do you want to risk it? Do you really want to put yourself in that situation? So I ended up just having dinner with my family, which I live with, and just chilling at home, basically not doing too much, just to kind of stay safe and whatnot. Because a lot of people around me actually got COVID, and thankfully I was able to dodge all of that. So, I got lucky on that part. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you got to see your family for the holidays, man. Because this past 2 years have been just crazy and stuff. What was it like last year that I don't think anybody saw their family members for Christmas and stuff, So, just the fact that we were able to see them and stuff.
Man.
And this IG Live and stuff, it gives you at least something to do in your evenings, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of nothing going on, So I managed to take a couple of pictures. It was great this last semester though to get back into class because I teach for a living, and to be with my students. That helped quite a bit because they've had it rough, just online learning and shit like that. And just getting back into class and having that interaction.
Online. I graduated
there you go.
online. I finished up. Yes, it's like it was rough. Those last few semesters. Oh, I think it was like like 2 full semesters, and then like a winter semester there. And it was tough. Just sitting at home trying to pay attention and finish up and stuff. So yeah.
Some of my college students. Yeah, definitely. Some of my college students will have spent their entire because I teach junior college essentially. It's the bridge between high school and university here in Quebec, and. Some of my students will have graduated flat out online. Their diplomas will have been done online, which is, it's weird. It's just so odd to be in.
It's a little scary too at the same time, right? Like how much did they actually do? How much attention did they pay?
Listen, as a teacher, I won't get into that, but the numbers show that this generation is going to be a little weaker. Let's just say that.
I can agree.
Not their fault though. Not their fault.
No. Yeah, I mean, I can totally attest to that because I'll admit, in 1 or 2 of my classes, I fell asleep on the couch watching TV, and you know what I mean. So it is what it is, But yeah, I graduated online and stuff, so it would have been great to go back. So, what subject do you teach?
I teach English.
Oh, okay.
English is a second language, pre-university English, and then literature and cinema as well.
So what would be primary language? Would it be French?
Where I live?
Yeah, French.
Yeah. My life is, I'd say, 80 to 85% English because I teach English. At home, I speak English to my kids, but when they go over to their mother's place, they speak French.
Oh, wow.
I speak French to my father, but English to my mom. They're still together. It's just that's the way I was raised. Speak English to my sister. Speak English to my wife. I speak English to all my colleagues mostly, but it's in the language department. So I have people that are going to teach Spanish classes and also German. So I interact with them in French because English is not their mother tongue. But for myself, if I go out and I go to the grocery store or something like that, everything's in French.
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah. That's interesting. It's kind of funny though, because like my first language was Spanish. Like I learned Spanish from when I was a baby and stuff, and then obviously here in America you have to learn English for school. So my parents taught me English, and I kind of backtracked and everything. And now I'm like somewhat a little bit okay with Spanish, but I can't hold too big of a conversation. I can hold a conversation, but you start throwing in some big words in there, and I start getting a little confused and whatnot,
Right.
you know. So
See,
that's
one of
really cool.
my colleagues just joined. Annick. Salut Annick. J'ai hâte de te revoir une fois que l'école recommence. Là, on va se faire un petit lunch. So there you go. I'm going to flash my French there for some people that are colleagues of mine that are here at the college. What's your last name, man?
That's good. Madrigal, technically, like if you want to say it in like
Yeah,
the Spanish
exactly.
way,
If you told me you were
Madrigal.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know if you heard of that new Pixar movie or Disney movie, the Encanto.
Yeah?
Like the family name that they use is actually my family name.
Nice.
So it was like interesting.
Okay, cool.
So like
That's
I was
awesome.
hearing like all the ads and the music and stuff, and I was hearing my last name. I was like, is this like the AI advertising? Like they take it from your username and they throw it in there? But then no, like the movie came out and people were messaging me. They're like, they're using your last name. And I was like, I thought so, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I was like, I wonder if I could get some of that sweet Disney money, but I don't think there's a way.
So many Madrigados are going to reaching out to Disney. It's like, hey.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I could buy so many. I could probably buy Mezco if I get some of that Disney money.
Oh, well, yeah. You never know.
Hey.
Disney doesn't like to share much.
No, those lawyers, they definitely will keep me in loopholes and everything. They know how I get around all that stuff. You know how it is. But yeah, so let me go ahead and get into a few of the questions that I have for you, man. I mean,
Sure thing, sir.
Talking about kind of your background and stuff. So what got you into collecting? Like just overall collecting?
Oh, man. I don't collect much anymore, to be honest, though. Like, I see my toys more as tools.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, so
and
like
honestly, I
collecting
remember you mentioning that, and thank you, because honestly, my collection is kind of getting a little out of hand. And as a toy photographer, kind of taking that mentality and notion and looking at my collection, I was able to pick and choose and be like, okay, I could probably get rid of this guy, get rid of this figure and stuff. So thank you for bringing that to my attention and to look at my stuff like that, as opposed to like, ooh, shiny new toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to make that kind of switch, and especially like I have an affinity for certain figures that I will still consider collectibles, which is why I usually double up on that one, which is, something that my wife doesn't particularly like. She's like, I thought you already had that one. And I have to go kind of like, no.
No.
She's like, I saw it last week.
It's a variant one. Don't
Exactly.
worry about it.
But I mean, I've been collecting I think I started like at the end of high school when Phantom Menace came out. I think that just before that, I'd always been a Star Wars fan, and I'd always kept my toys. Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, things like that, especially Ninja Turtles. But I had a long comic book run as well, where I used to love collecting the older Marvel Legends from Toy Biz. So that kind of got me into it. I like those toys quite a bit, Ninja Turtles as well. Yeah, Power of the Force. I don't know if you guys remember those action figures with like, bulky Luke.
Yeah, buffed out Luke and Han.
Yeah, so I have like when the Phantom Menace came out, I remember picking up Darth Maul. I remember picking up Qui-Gon. I remember picking up Obi-Wan. I would take them out of the package and I'd put them in but they were like 5-point figures, right? So they didn't move much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd been a collector for a long time. I'd always taken them out of the package. I used to have these like giant bookshelves, and they'd all be in positions where they were fighting and shit like that. But it was just me taking like whatever I'd seen in comic books and trying to recreate it on the shelf somehow.
Well, that's kind of what it was before pictures, right? That's kind of what it was.
Yeah,
like that's just what you did with your collection before you did like IG pictures and all that stuff. It was just kind of for yourself,
But yeah, it's those scenarios, I guess. So, but I've been collecting for such a long time. I think it took a turn, like a really intense turn, is when The Force Awakens came out. So this is not too long ago. I mean, I did have lots of toys before that, and I still had them in their packages and whatnot. But I had gotten rid of most of them by the time that came out, and then I backtracked on a couple of Black Series. I remember having like all the 1988 Ninja Turtles, all in their packages and all that. Now I have just 2 of them, but I remember having like, I had Baxter, I had Shredder, I had, all 4 brothers. I had a double of, I think, Raphael. But at one point you're like, well, I kind of need the money. Christmas is coming up. Work is a little bit slow and shit. So, I kind of want to get something for the kids. These are just collecting dust to them. I remember I had a stint where one of my ex-girlfriends got into Barbie collecting, and so when she left, she kind of left me a bunch of Barbies as well, and so I kind of had like really cool Barbies for a long time, and
I
then I
mean,
got rid of
thankfully
those
those have a
too.
little bit of cash in them, right? Those
Yeah,
make a little bit of
exactly.
cash, so
Yeah, there's one
not too
I'm
bad.
kind of sad I got rid of, which is they had made a Tippi Hedren doll from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and it was selling for a pretty penny, and I decided to sell it instead. But that's one Barbie I wish I'd have kept. It's the
That's the
weirdest
only
thing, but
one.
yeah, exactly. It's the
But
one that got
hey, I mean,
away.
it's tied to yeah, but I mean, it's tied to classic films. So I mean, it's kind of weird how they'll make those figures for those classic films, but
Mm,
they won't make like actual action figures, which is kind of interesting. How nowadays they are starting to backtrack to those classic films and make figures for them finally. So kind
yeah,
of like with NECA and Back to the Future. Never in a million years I think we get figures in that kind of a sense for Back to the Future, and here
yeah.
comes NECA with it. So it's a pretty good time to be alive and collecting. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've always been like a collector in the sense of you too, like where like I grew up playing with a bunch of toys, a bunch of Star Wars toys, and I just kept them. I have an uncle. He's always been a collector and stuff, so I kind of learned from him. Like, well, if he's holding on to
Okay,
these and these are worth something now, like. I mean, obviously, mine are all out of package and played with, but I played with them nicely. I didn't like slam them together. I didn't scuff them up and everything. They're all still in good condition, and oddly enough, I was kind of doing toy photography before toy photography with my toys, just setting up action scenes and whatnot. Like
yeah,
growing up, I was never artistic. I can't draw for shit. I can't. If I draw a stick
okay.
figure, like up until I was the third grade, I would draw a person with just like a head and then lines for legs and lines for arms. Like that was my person.
So
So,
you draw
but the one
spiders.
exactly. Finally, my mom was like, "Well, why don't you add a body?" So I was like, "Okay." But But the one thing that I was always good at is she'd always walk in on me playing. She'd be like, "Wow, that looks like a really cool scene." So it's like I was just really good at always setting up action figures and stuff. But I wasn't like one to just bang them together. I was actually like setting them up and whatnot.
Right.
So that's why when I saw like pictures from like you and stuff, it's like it took me back to my childhood and being like, "Wow, I
Oh,
used to do that and stuff." And like, wow, you can actually do something with that nowadays and put it up, and people seem to respond to it. And especially your stuff, dude. Your stuff is so crisp, clear, and the lighting. I don't know what you just have a great knack for lighting. I mean, I'm sure it's been training and practice and all that stuff, but I love all the lighting in your pictures. It just makes everything look crisp and clean and bright, and yeah, it just looks amazing in my opinion.
thanks, man. I'm still, guys. I'm still working on it. I have my little things and my little quirks that I like to do now, but I'm picking up from people left and right all the time. I mean, one of the
Hmm.
reasons why I enjoy the hobby so much is that there's still so much to learn. And
Exactly.
whenever like some of my favorite people put out shots, I'm always studying like, how the fuck did he get that?
Hmm.
How's he doing that? And I ask a bunch of questions. Sometimes I'll get answers, sometimes I don't get answers. Not everyone wants to
Yep.
give up their little secrets and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I have mine. I don't. There's some things that I don't want to. People messaging me like, "You should make YouTube videos," and I'm like, first, I don't have time. Second, no, go. I give you guys. I already put a lot of BTS on the shots themselves.
Yeah, you do.
Just figure it out from there. So but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of cool, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I totally relate to what you were saying when it comes to, posing the figures before toy photography. It's like it's always been there, and you're just lacking the camera at one point. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
for me, it's like I didn't like camera phones weren't a thing when I was a kid, so it never occurred to me to take a picture or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, they barely became a thing when I was in like middle school, high school, and I wasn't really collecting at that time, because
okay.
it's not the cool thing to be in, playing with toys and stuff when you're in high school. So,
But what made you shift? What was the reason you got into collecting? Because I
um,
see you post stuff all the time, and I'm like, this guy's room must be nuts.
yeah, honestly, well, it kind of shifted maybe like probably when I mean, I had started collecting maybe 2, 3 years into college. I had slowly started collecting when the Marvel movie started getting bigger and bigger. I was like, okay, well, I can
Right.
put out
Okay.
I can put out my Spider-Man and no one's gonna say anything because it's cool right now. You know what I mean? And then Star Wars got bought up by Disney, and it was like, oh, Star Wars, Star Wars. So I was like, okay, well, I can put some of my old Star Wars out. And then I saw that they came out with the Black Series. And growing
Hmm.
up, I always wanted, 6 inch taller, more articulated figures. But back in those days, it was like you got to pay a pretty penny, if you wanted that.
Yeah.
And no parent's gonna buy their 5, 8 year old a $200, $300 figure. to play with. So now that I'm older and it's not even $200-$300, it's this $20 figure back, back when they first started. But I was able to get the clone
Yeah.
troopers, because for me,
Yep.
the thing I love about Star Wars is, first and foremost, Boba Fett and Jango Fett, but then also the clone troopers. That was always my favorite aspect. And then the Jedi and the Sith and everything else underneath it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I saw that they had like the Black Series clone troopers, I was like, ooh, I want to get those. And then it just snowballed and snowballed. And then I realized I had a lot of stuff in storage, kind of like like I've always collected stuff. And I was like, well, I'm kind of only showing my collection to a select number of people. So why don't I start an Instagram? And then during lockdown, I was like, well, why don't I start some toy photography? And then I was like, well, why don't I start a review page? And then when you have a review page, you're constantly reviewing new stuff. So really in 2020 is when it really ramped up, but prior to then I was slowly adding pieces to my collection. But 2020 I got really into toy photography and really into my reviews and everything, and that's when my collection really just exploded. And you can see what's behind me, and this is just a very small percentage. I actually have like helmets up here because I had to move them, I had to mount them on the wall and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I have a room tour on my YouTube right now, but I need to do an updated one. But yeah, it's
no, you don't.
It's getting a little
Don't do that.
That's why
it's one of those things you're gonna be like, oh fuck, I'm a hoarder now. I didn't realize it.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you for giving me that mentality of like looking at my figures as tools and not so much just like, ooh, shiny new toy. You know what I mean? Because it was getting to the point where it's like, okay, this shiny new toy isn't gonna fit anywhere, like at all. Like it's just not. So yeah, but honestly, like especially shifting into Mezco too, like it's kind of pushed me away from other lines because they're just so superior compared to other figures. You get so much for your money, and for that one purchase. That one purchase, you have so many options versus like a Black Series. Even though it's 75% cheaper, you're also getting 95% less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Yeah, I have trouble. I can barely pick up those figures anymore. I really have to want it. Like, if it's anything like Mando or something like that, I'll think about it. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'd love to have that Grogu little pod that he comes with and stuff like that. There's a new Mando. Like those ones, they don't come to Canada often. You know what I mean?
Really?
And if we get them, like getting Black Series, getting G.I. Joe is a nightmare in Canada. Well, in my neck of the woods anyway. So
you don't live near a Toys R Us out there?
I do live near Toys R Us, but the thing is that because when it becomes exclusive, we get it sometimes 6, 7, 8 months down the line. And then by the time that happens, the scalpers have picked them all up and they're all on eBay. So I kind of have to be at the store at 10 a.m. when it opens. I'm at school, man. So there's no way for me to can't call in sick and be at fucking Toys R Us picking up Mando.
No, yeah, I totally feel that, man. Just in general, though, like whenever they put out pre-orders and stuff, it's like 1 p.m. on a Wednesday. It's like you do realize people are at work. Like people are making money to pay for those figures. So for you to put them up at that hour, but also, just the fact that you'd have to show up at 10 a.m. every day just to see if they even have it in general. Like, honestly, I was doing that for a while with certain stores, and I kind of just gave up. I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. If I come across it, I come across it. And also what helps, though, is creating a network, like, meeting other collectors and, connecting with them and saying, oh, you're looking for this, I found this. So if I'm looking for this, thankfully I found somebody that's in the community as well. And he lives in my city and he toy hunts and I toy hunt. So we kind of help each other out and whatnot. So that's kind of been helpful since we've met and stuff. But yeah, before then, it was just a headache, especially now with gas prices here in California. It's not even worth it. It's almost worth it just to pay the scalper prices because gas is so outrageous here. You know what I mean? It's like why drive around?
But like Paige says though, and I've pulled this a couple of times as well. Bathroom break at 1 p.m. It's the I've had to do it. There's a couple of times where I was like, oh, hey guys, work in your books for this type of thing right now, and then after that, I gotta go take a leak.
I ran into a caller in the hallway. We started talking. I realized the class was about to be over. Now I'm back.
No, I don't. Well, no, I got lucky though. That's the thing. Sometimes when the website crashes and shit like that, I got lucky. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it doesn't happen to me. But I'm usually in and out in roughly about a minute.
Okay, yeah. You're talking about Mezco drops.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because they do the same thing. They kind of drop it right there in the middle of the day and stuff. But at least Yeah, I mean, but at least with them, like, it's a little easier and stuff. Whereas with other sites, they'll like it's just like Hasbro online and stuff, and other
Oh,
sites whenever they throw stuff
I can't
online.
even afford shipping on that shit, man.
Or but not just that, but like just the availability is crazy. Like you go to Walmart, and as soon as it goes up, it's down. It's up, it's
Yeah.
down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or at least I've heard that it with the past, like Mezco was like that, but Paige has mentioned that like it's gone better since. You know,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
you know, and like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just getting more and more into Mezco because you just get more for your money. There's just way more, and they just look way more. They just look better in pictures and stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
um,
I agree with that. I
yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. I like right now. I'm going to be working on NECA cartoon turtles. That's the one thing
Mhm.
I want to kind of work on a little bit more and have a little bit more fun with, because I like the turtles. I haven't photographed them in a while. You know, I see them every now and then, and that's why I kind of started off the year with Spider-Man as well. I was like, I need to take more pictures of Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, you know, and
Yeah.
he's my favorite iteration of Spider-Man so far. I like the getup he's wearing and stuff like that. He's just
Hmm.
a great character. So
Although
yeah,
I like what you
I'm
do
gonna
with
work on
Batman
that.
too, man.
Well, that's it. I'm working. I'm working on Batman is slowly coming. I have a friend out in New York who helped me out. I needed to have the Sovereign Knight boots put on a Shadow Supreme Batman because I wanted to make him taller because I didn't like those
Oh.
clunky boots, and so I
Uh-huh.
wanted to make him a little bit taller. And I also
Mhm.
have a head sculpt coming from JC Custom Paints over in the UK of a
Mhm.
Batman. So I'm kind of building a Batman right now, and I'm
All
really looking
right.
forward to getting that fucker because he's gonna look badass.
Well, I'm looking forward to the picture you're gonna take of him, man. I'm sure those will be badass as well.
Oh man, the head sculpt that I'm gonna get is worth the price I paid. It looks great. It's the kind of Batman that, you know, I'm like, that's exactly how I imagine him
That's what you
terrifying
see in your
people.
head.
Exactly. It's the kind of Batman that I'm just looking forward to take pictures of. I mean, how can you can't not be scared of that face.
Dude, you got me
I'll,
really
I'll
excited for
send
this
you a
picture
picture
now.
later of the head sculpt.
Yes,
It's on
yes,
his
please do.
page, and he does a great job too. I reposted something to my stories today where he was doing a 1/6 scale paint of Jack Torrance from The
Hmm.
Shining, and that's a
Hmm.
figure I'd love to get my hands on in the 1/12 scale. You know, just
Hmm.
some
Oh
Shining
yeah.
figures. It'd be so
Oh
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I'm looking forward to putting that Batman together.
Is it like based off a certain look of Batman, or is it totally custom?
Uh it's definitely a certain look. Whether or not I can pinpoint it, I don't know. It's the kind of face that I feel that if Alex Ross were to paint him in a very mean manner, that's what it would look like.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's got a really intriguing quality to it. He looks weathered. He looks mean. He just looks scary. I just love the face.
He just looks like prime Batman.
Yeah, he looks like he's the like mid 40s Batman. He's my age.
That's why you like it so much. You see yourself in it, right? You're like, that could be
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, without the beard.
That's good. That's good, man. All right, so I kind of asked you what got you into collecting, but what got you into collecting
Yep.
Mezco and specifically?
Um, I was in the Black Series quite a bit. I had a few Marvel Legends, NECA as well, but I kept seeing like people taking pictures of these toys with, you know,
Yes, yes.
soft goods, and I was like, and I kept hearing the term soft goods, and I was like, what the
You're
fuck
like,
does
what
that
is
even
that?
mean? I was
Yeah.
like, you mean tiny clothes? And they were like, yeah, tiny clothes.
Exactly.
And I was like,
Exactly.
okay. And I just kind of thought that, and this is Sergeant Banana's fault. This is Johnny's fault. Um, I saw Popeye,
Mm.
and I was like, how the this is amazing. Who makes this? And I tried
Mm.
to find a Popeye figure, and it was just too expensive at the time. I couldn't justify the
Yeah.
price. And then, you know, you do the mental gymnastics after that. You're like, well, you know, if I just get one, yeah, it's, you know, it's just
Let's
one
just get
time. And
one.
then, exactly. And then after that, you'll
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
well, I'll be able to take a lot of pictures of this, just one. And maybe I get another. But it was
Maybe
just
get
one of those
three,
those things.
4, 5,
Exactly. You know, so
20. Well,
I
then you
saw
end up like paying for the
bananas.
whole vault of Mescos.
No. I leave that to him. He's got his thing. But yeah, no, that's impressive. That collection that he
Oh
has.
yeah,
He's
when
he's
I
never
saw that, I
taken
was
me
like,
through the
dude.
vault. He's never taken me through the vault, but I've
When
seen
he
like
comes on
corner
next time, I'm gonna
pictures.
tell him.
He's the kind of guy that's gonna take a picture. It's like, you see that door right there? Behind there is where the magic is. Yep, just a little bit. And so it's thank you, pretty girl. My wife is topping me up.
So this is no
See you
longer
later.
coffee and toys. This is wine and toys.
It's later at my place.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, it's 5 o'clock here, so it's warranted here as
Yeah,
well.
it's still a little early. But
I'd
yeah,
be lying if I
so
didn't have a beer before this.
there you go. But yeah, so Spencer Witt also, Swit Pics, he was taking pictures of that really awesome MDX Joker. I saw that. I figured it out. So Ralph over there as well had Joker pictures. I remember seeing Gomez show up and going, "Who the fuck is that character?" There's so many people taking
Dude.
pictures of this character, and for some reason I gravitated towards him.
Yeah.
Specifically for a reason that I've already explained before, is because I've always loved the Ninja Turtles, and I feel like he fits that world so much. He sparks my imagination in a way that the Turtles always have. It's just that weirdness of like, why does this exist and why is it so cool? And
Exactly.
so I saw a bunch of people taking pictures of those figures, and I was like, I need to get my hands on these. I couldn't find any Agent Gomez. I didn't understand what it was. People were saying Mesco Toys, Mesco Toys. And then when I saw the prices, I was like,
You're just like,
I can't do that.
yeah.
You know,
You're
kids
like,
need to
nope,
feed the
nope.
kids and all that
I need
stuff.
to
And
feed
then I'm
myself.
like, fuck. But then, yeah, I mean, at one point, I asked for permission. I asked my wife for permission. I got the Punisher first, and I told her, I was like, I got it off
Ooh.
Amazon. Not the Punisher, no, Netflix Punisher. The
Oh,
one
oh, okay, okay,
everyone
okay.
starts with.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, oh, whoa, that's a big. Okay, I
No.
can see why you asked.
Yeah, so I got Netflix Punisher first, and I got it for a great deal. It was 80 Canadian on
Okay,
Amazon.
that's
And
actually a
so it
really good
came
deal.
in. It is, yeah, it was a really great deal. And it came in, and I busted his fucking arm. And so
Ooh,
I messaged Amazon. I was like, hey, it came in, it was broken, wink, wink. And they sent me a new one, and I was all right. So I had him for a while. I just traded him. And then I saw the Joker Clown Prince of Crime. I thought that was a
mm,
great looking figure. And I think this was January 2019 when I posted my first Mezco shot with him. And I liked the way that the light touched, like it wrapped around the figure and all that stuff. I thought it was
mm-hmm.
really, really great. I thought that the figure
Yeah,
himself, I could. It's gonna sound kitschy, but it doesn't matter, or esoteric in a way. I felt like I could express more emotion through the positioning of the figure and how he would interact and all that stuff. And it was fun because I could kind of transfer my body language onto him, and it felt like I was actually part of the picture in a way.
no, I
Um,
get that. I totally feel that, man.
yeah. And then once that started the ball rolling, that's when I started seeing the shots of Popeye. And I was like, motherfucker, this figure looks amazing. And there's no rational reason to want a Popeye figure until you see that Popeye figure. And you're like, how is that so cool? And so, yeah, I think that the one that the little gentle push that I got is when I saw Bananas' pictures of Popeye. And even like he posted one, I think it was 2-3 days ago. Still looks fucking great. But yeah, Popeye is definitely the one that I was like, wow, I have to get that.
Yeah, I have to admit, like, I've seen a few things of Popeye growing up and stuff. I've never been into him, but yeah, when you see like those photos that people take of the Mezco one, they do come out really, really well. Because were you a fan of Popeye before that, or like was it just the
Well,
photos that made you want to?
a fan of Popeye is like a strong term. I really feel that yes, I've always been somewhat of a fan of Popeye, and the reason is because there's a certain sentimental attachment to him in visiting my grandparents in New Brunswick and St. John over the course of like when I was a kid. So I used to get up in
Mm-hmm.
the morning and I used to like my parents would go stay with my aunt, my sister with them, but because I was the first kid that my grandma saw, like the minute I was born,
Mm-hmm.
she always had a personal I won't say preference, but she had a special place in her heart for me. And so I got
Mm-hmm.
preferential treatment. I used to be able to go sleep at Nanny's place. And I would wake up in the morning, and I used to sit on my grandfather, and he would put on Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Popeye used to play roughly around the same time. So I used to watch
Mm-hmm.
these, sometimes black and white cartoons, sometimes colored
Mm-hmm.
cartoons. And and then my grandmother would get up, she'd make a hard-boiled egg for him, some toast. I'd get my Star Wars cereal. And so these are fond memories of mine. And I specifically remember watching Popeye, sitting on my grandfather's lap when I was a young boy. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
sentimental attachment to Popeye, but I don't know any of the episodes by heart. It's not something that I backtracked and tried to. There's no, I don't know any of the lore. I can't name all the characters or anything like that. But I do think that this is one of these really wonderful creations that we have in Popeye as a character. Yeah.
I'd say that makes you a fan, man. I mean, you have fond memories attached to characters. I say that makes you a fan. I think, like I said, as long as you have something attached to it and, something that takes you back, I say you're a fan. You don't have, I'm not saying you're a diehard fan. And, it made you want to get into another line and it made you want to explore these other figures anyway. So, it's all, meant to be in a sense. So that's pretty cool that you said that. Because, yeah, it's kind of odd how you said everything, because it's like, basically you telling my story of how I got into Mezco. I saw people taking pics, and I was like, man, what is this Batman? Why does he look so amazing? And it's like, well, it's not a plastic suit, I'm looking at it, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's fabric. The cape is fabric. And the one that really sold me was the Sovereign Knight, with the battle damage head sculpt. And I was like, that's something different, unique, that like
Yeah.
that a normal toy brand wouldn't put out, at Target and stuff, because it's not a Batman that kids would be buying or parents would be buying for their kids. And I was like, this is very unique. And that's what got me into were the Batman figures, because I'm a huge Batman fan. And that's where the rabbit hole just opened up for me.
Yeah.
And I was just,
And
and then,
Mezco
yeah,
doesn't
next
like
thing,
Batman at all.
not one bit, right? Just they kind of just make one figure and kind of just
Yeah, they
brush them
call
off
it
to
a
the side.
day.
I
Exactly.
was like, yeah, that's enough. But yeah, then like you said, then I started seeing people post Gomez. I'm like, who or what is it?
What
Why does
is
it look
this
so
thing?
cool? Like,
Yeah.
why do I want it so much? I don't know if it was the fact that I looked cool and I didn't know what it was that drew me to it. And then when I saw the prices, it's like, well, I can't have that. Like, I want it now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But once you learn, and thankfully once you get into it, it's a little easier to get Gomez and stuff like that,
Yeah.
especially now in the last year or two. So, yeah, thankfully I've been able to get into it. And honestly, thankfully I've been able to find a few good deals on these Mezcos, because
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that, I'd be in debt
Same.
like crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
been able to find
Absolutely.
some crazy good deals, because I think I got my Sovereign Knight Batman for 75, which was
That's good.
under retail and stuff. Yeah, so I was like, wow, you just gotta wait, look, and be patient for those things. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean it's kind of cool. Like I'm in a very fortunate position sometimes where I'll have people reach out and will say something like, "Listen, I'm not doing anything with this figure. I know you're going to take great pictures. Would you like to have it?" And I'm like, "Well, Jesus Christ, don't fucking do that. I know how much that thing's worth." And
yeah,
it's like it's not worth anything to me. It's sitting on my shelf, and so occasionally I'll be like, okay, well, can I give you a bit of money for it and figure something out? But it's always way below, what people are actually selling it for. And whenever I get a chance, I'll be able to, I'll say, hey, if ever you want, I can send you a print and they're like, yeah, cool. So that's happened a couple of times where
but
they've wanted that in exchange, and I thought that was really wonderful. Other times it's just really fucking lucky, to be honest. Getting them for retail here and there and all that stuff. I managed
mm-hmm.
to pick up all the Gomez. I have them all now as a result, but
Wow.
yeah. I have doubles of a few of them as well, but I'm still looking for a couple of ones that I want to double up on in case I break one. But I've been lucky in the last couple of years. It's one of those things where I've been able to make good acquaintances that haven't tried to you know hold my wallet for ransom. Let's just put it that
But
way.
But I think that's the difference between a true collector and a scalper. You know what I mean? Because I have met other collectors that have sold me old Mezco figures for retail and stuff. And they're just like, yeah, it's like, I'm not trying to oversell it or anything. I'm just trying to get rid of it, get my money
Yeah.
back and whatnot. And so, that's what I'm saying. I feel like those are true collectors. They're not, trying to resell. Like they said, to them, it's a figure on the shelf. They don't see the value in it, because when you buy these figures, you really shouldn't see them as investments. I mean, obviously, some of them do go for a lot of money, but it's more volatile than the stock market. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's like crypto, with
exactly.
far less
Yeah,
value. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, one of the comments that I've heard from people that were sending things to me was, "I know you won't get rid of it," and I think that kind of makes it better, because they know that I'm not going to try to resell it at a premium or something like that. And it's
Yeah.
true. The figures that I've received are figures that I've kept. There's nothing I've gotten rid of, because I know for a fact that these are things that I've been looking for a very long time,
Hmm.
and it's not something that I necessarily want to get rid of. They're not prized possessions, but they're I'll see them inspirations in a box, just waiting. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I need to photograph the Joker. Which one do I want to take out? So I'll take out all 3 or 4 of the Jokers that I have, and I'll normally gravitate towards 1 or 2 of them, and then after that I'll make a pick, and depending on what mood I'm in. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's just fun to have that availability.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I said, I've been able to pick up a few on myself, but actually like at a decent price. I don't have all the Gomez's like you, unfortunately. I think
Mm.
I may be missing 4 or 5 of them, but I have the majority of them, and I've been able to pick them up for a relatively decent price.
What are you
I was able to
missing?
pick up, let me think, the regular Assassin Gomez, the China white one, the Golden Head Gomez, and I believe the Gold Commander, the Hazard Squad Gold Commander Gomez.
Okay, all right.
I think other than that, I have them all.
I think that the gold head is going to be pretty easy to find, though. That one, a lot of people are
Mm.
trying to offload him. It's a good figure too.
Oh, and the Death of Gomez. I don't have that one. The Bruce Lee one.
Gomez of Death.
Gomez of
Yeah,
Death.
yeah, that one's
Yeah,
fucking. That one's really cool.
that one. I
When you take him out of the box, you're like, okay, he's fun. People
yeah,
are
yeah.
selling him way too much. That's the thing,
Yeah, yeah. And I had an opportunity to buy him for cheap, and I kind of passed it up, and I
though.
was just like, well, I
I'm
was
uh,
I
I'm
didn't
leaving.
pass it up. I didn't I didn't pass it up. I was in negotiations with a guy on eBay,
Right.
and someone bought it for the price he was asking. So it kind of just like
Nah.
yeah, I was like talking to him. I was like negotiating, and the next it's like someone bought it for the actual price, and I was just like, oh, all right. I learned my lesson. I was like, just buy it. You know what I mean?
It depends. I mean, like, I understand why there would be a little bit of a markup for that one, because he was kind of, he was a secret drop. No one was expecting it. It was just announced kind of in the comic book, and people were like, "What the fuck is this thing?"
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, let's see, when did he come out? He came out. I don't know if he was advertised in the Doc Nocturnal comic
No,
book. I think
no, he wasn't. Hawk
no,
P40
Baron
was.
Benz.
I don't have Baron Benz. I have the Doc Knock, and at the end it's Hawk P40.
Yes, but it's in the middle of the comic book. They say that there's going.
Okay, okay, okay. Like the ad,
Yeah,
the little
exactly.
plastic.
And then
Okay,
you
I
have
get what
that
you're saying.
Gomez of Death, and he's in that Bruce Lee pose. And I'm wondering if that's not Baron Benz. Anyway, if Paige is still here, he'll be able to tell us. But yeah, he was in the comic book. He was teased at some point. I don't remember exactly when. And then people were like, "When the fuck is this going to happen?" And I think it was like on a Friday afternoon, like 1 or 2 o'clock, where it just kind of appeared, and you just,
It
if
was
you're
just
lucky,
there.
you're lucky if you were checking. Yeah.
Oh man, that makes a lot of sense. And then they also randomly included like 2 extra heads with them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like the bloodied head and everything. Yeah, because
Yeah.
even those themselves are going for like 80, $90 just for the heads.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to just pick up those heads too. And once again, I was in negotiations with somebody on eBay. He wanted 80 for the heads, and I was talking to him down to about 50, and someone bought it for 80 off me or off of him, and I was just like, ah.
Well, I mean, listen, if you look at the price itself per head sculpt, if you were going to buy it like from a guy like that's just randomly selling painted heads and stuff like that, you're looking at about a $50-$60 value anyway. You know what I mean? So $80, $40 a piece. Yeah, I can see why it's kind of expensive, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you're like, well, my mind won't allow me to do it, because I'm like, that's almost the price of a figure. Go fuck yourself. But
Well,
at
that's
the
why I was
same,
like trying to talk him down and stuff, but then
yeah,
someone just paid $80 for him and bought
yeah.
him. So I was like, okay, nothing I
But
can do at that point.
if you get into the whole customization thing, when you start realizing these prices, that Batman head I got
Hmm.
was more than $80 for one. So it's one of those things where you're like, but I know there's a dude behind it that kind of was
Oh
working on it
yeah,
with his hands and shit. So I appreciate
yeah,
that a little bit, the artistry that's there.
no, yeah. So were you able to get Holiday Gomez in? Did he come in for you yet? Or
Yes,
no?
yes, yes. You
Oh,
got
he
him.
did.
I
He did.
got him on was it the 23rd or the 24th? So it was a Christmas miracle.
Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw you posting pictures of Cousin Eddie, but I hadn't seen anything for Holiday Gomez yet. So I was
Uh,
like,
I wanted to, but it's just I wanted to put Gomez in the background for Cousin Eddie. But at the
uh,
same time, I was having so much fun just kind of having him on the island of Misfit Toys because he fit in there.
mhm.
That I was like, you don't need Gomez. It's just going to be distracting to have him in the back. People are going to notice it, but they're not going to keep working on with what I have at hand. And
Yeah.
so I thought it was really fun. But the funny part of those pictures, is that I dropped Rudolph the day before I was going to set up for those pictures, and I lost his
Hmm.
fucking nose. So the
The one
figure was
important part.
exactly the one important part. His nose broke off, and I think
Oh,
like my daughter had vacuumed just the day before, so there's no way.
oh,
And maybe
yeah.
maybe when I move, I'll find it like underneath like a bookcase or some shit like that, and be like, there it is. So because I'm crazy sometimes, I decided to go buy another Rudolph. So he got here today. I was very happy. But yeah, so when I was taking
Hey,
that
well,
picture,
wait, you
yeah,
bought a Rudolph, right? You bought a Rudolph. What was that,
yeah,
like $10, $15?
no.
No, a little more?
Well, I mean, in US, yes, but then there's shipping and import fees for me. So,
No, oh, okay, no, because I was gonna say I bought a figure specifically for Christmas as well, but I think
right.
mine was a little bit more. I actually have them right here because it kind of ties into something that you and Paige were talking about. How you guys were
Mm,
saying like, oh, people always talk about passing on a figure and all this stuff, and I pass on a figure simply just because I don't like it and it's just not something for me, right?
right.
But and so when I saw this figure, I was like, it's not for me. But then Christmas rolled around and I got an idea, and I was like, well, now we got Holiday Gomez and Cousin Eddie.
Right.
They kind of need a Grinch to go along with them.
There you
And
go. I
so I
like
went
that. A
and
great
picked up a
idea.
Mosquatch. That's what I was saying. Like, you picked up a little Rudolph, but I went and picked up a whole Mosquatch for a holiday
Yeah.
picture that
But that's
he
a
came
great
in a
idea
little
with the
late,
Grinch. Yeah.
right? I was like, what can fit? Because I don't have a 1/12 scale Grinch. So I was like, what can fit in? I was like, a Mosquatch. So yeah, I had to go and
That's a
pick him
good
up. He
idea,
came in a
man. I
little
like
late,
that.
but Christmas comes around every year. So idea for
How do you
next
like the
year.
figure? You like him?
I like him. I'm a big fan of like oversized toys. I wish he had fisted hands and an alternate head where he was growling,
Right.
but very minor gripes. For what it is, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's a big, green fluffy figure. Green's my favorite color, so it's kind of a wonder I wasn't intrigued by him sooner, but I have him now and I'm going to use him for toy photography throughout the year, but I can't wait till Christmas time rolls around again and I can, use him with Holiday Gomez and Cousin Eddie and whatnot, and hopefully throw together a nice
Could
Grinch
actually
and
could actually have him as the Christmas tree they're decorating.
I'm gonna have to steal that idea if that's okay.
Go ahead. I'm not going to do
You
it.
know you know who makes a good Santa? Red Death Doc Knock.
That would be really good when you slap a beard on that skull.
Yeah, and then you have a little hat that the advent calendar comes with and stuff. So
Absolutely, yeah, man. Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
did see
So
that you start. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. I wanted to do something with Holiday Gomez, but I kind of finished off the year by doing a lot of Gomez, and I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm more enthusiastic than most people about that character. And so if I'm not shooting Spider-Man or Batman or something like that, my views like plummet like crazy. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to keep doing what I like doing. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I do have a Gomez shot coming up. I'm going to be collaborating with Jason Young from Work War More or Less. He
Oh,
got
nice, nice.
Hazard Squad commander, and yeah, you're going to be talking to him very soon
I was
too.
gonna say he's gonna be coming on the show soon.
Yeah, if he hasn't done his shot yet, you need to tell him Jason's waiting for you.
I'll let him know, man. I'll give him the message.
But yeah, so my shot's ready to go. I might actually reshoot it because I had another idea of what I wanted to do. It's so weird because the shot's fine, but then I was like, there's something in that corner that I'd like to put that I'm going to probably reshoot because I think that I could add something there that would actually make it more fun for me. And it's just one of those things where, you know.
That's the thing when you have time with the shot to look at, you're just like, I can make it a little bit better if I just add
Yeah,
here, maybe move this to the side just a little bit.
exactly.
So I don't want you to give away your shot, but can you tell us at least which Gomez you used in the shot?
Oh, this is the Hazard Squad Commander, the blue shirt version.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
so you guys are using the same figure.
Yep.
Okay, so it's kind of similar to your last collaboration with visual approach photography, correct?
Yes,
Where
sir.
you guys
Yes,
posted the
sir.
Doc Knock.
Yeah.
So how was that? Was that fun or what?
Yeah, it's
Or
always
was it
fun. I mean,
tedious?
it's not. No. It's just
Like
what I
all
wanted to
that
do
broken
is.
glass and stuff?
No, that's fun. I like that. That's the part. That's the part because my I have trouble focusing and on anything in life and things like that. But when I'm actually taking pictures, it's one of those times where, for some reason, it's like ultra sharp focus. And so being in a place that most people would find tedious and like just kind of manipulating, just kind of moving the fucking figure like less than 3 millimeters, just because you feel like it's gonna hit the light a little bit. I like that
It's a little
stuff.
better.
That to me, it makes me feel good. And so placing the broken glass with tweezers
Mm-hmm.
on the figure so that I'm not disrupting anything,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd do that all day. I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I
But
saw
yeah,
that you on the behind the scenes. You were using tweezers and stuff to like place
yeah.
it.
So
That's
it's
cool.
just
That's
that's
cool.
just so much fun to do. And plus, I had already taken the shot. I had already finished the shot, and
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, he's flying through a window. It's broken. There's no glass. I have to reshoot. And so I went and I got myself another piece of plastic that I could cut. It was on
Mm-hmm.
a figure that I'd taken out of the box, and I still had the box around and all that stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
just used the packaging where I was cutting things up, and then I started placing it on, Doc Knox. I had to reset up the lighting and all that stuff just to make sure that everything was okay the way that it was set up before. Find a different angle. I was trying a different lens, something that I, wanted to go back to
Mm-hmm.
that I hadn't used in a long time. I did the same thing for Gomez. Yeah, I just wanted to start the year out in a very different way. I wanted to try different angles, different types of framing and things like that. And so I've just been trying to have fun experimenting with shit.
Well, both your guys' shots came out incredible. I absolutely
Thanks.
love
I
Doc
prefer
Knock.
his. His is really nice. I really like his.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the dynamic part of yours. Like, just like the glass looks like it's coming at you, but
Mm-hmm.
his just looks really clean. Like, he's just
Yeah.
smack dab in the middle. He looks really cool. Doc
Mm-hmm.
Knock's like one of my favorite Rumble characters. So
He's
seeing
cool.
those two, yeah, he's really cool. And, it's just like, I want to see more from like the comic book. And those two pictures were kind of like an extension of that. I
Yeah.
feel like those can actually be like, put into a Doc Knock comic and it would fit perfectly. Like, you guys perfectly captured the essence of that character, even though Rumble leaves you kind of like room to like make your own
Yep.
background with
The
those characters and
stories and all that
everything.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But Doc Knock has a certain macabre feeling to it, and you guys, I think, captured that perfectly with that figure.
Yeah. That's really cool because that broken window, comes off an old Spawn figure.
Mm-hmm.
It came with the diorama, and I ripped that thing off and I shoved it into a wall that I made. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
that it was good. It was good because it was like stained glass, and I felt that it fit like a dungeon type setting. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so it was a fun thing to work on.
Oh, that's cool, man. That actually kind of connects to one of my questions I have here. Would you be willing to collaborate with a shot with me?
So that's the funny thing. I knew you would ask that, so I'm going to say no, and I'll explain why. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Honestly, bro,
It's
that's
what
totally your decision.
I
Whether
told
you
my
would
wife
or
that I was
wouldn't,
like,
it's totally
he
yours.
sent me this question, and I want to see his face when I say no, because this is two things that would happen. Is like either I say no and I look like a real fucking asshole to everyone that's here, or I
Especially since we were
say
just talking about you collaborating with others.
exactly, and then I'd say yes because that's the type of person I am. I'm always happy to do that type of thing. But I was just I wanted to say no and let it linger, but I couldn't do it because it's just one of those things like, no, just be a total dick. But yeah, no, anytime, man, that'd be great. It depends on what you want to shoot. Obviously, I have to have the figure.
Oh yeah, well, same with me. I mean, I guess anything Mezco in a sense, right? Like anything kind of Batman or Rumble Society would work.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you want to do, Rumble or Batman?
I really don't care.
Mm, That's a hard one. That's the thing. You know, both of them I like. Like I said, Batman's what got me into Mezco, but Rumble's what like really got me diving deep into Mezco.
Hmm.
What
Let's
if we
see.
did a mixture? What if we did a mixture? Yeah, Black Skulls, right?
Yeah, I don't think they mix well with Batman, though, for me
Mm,
personally. Let's
what about?
see. Maybe a figure
Mm,
I've never shot.
okay,
What Gomez do you have? I'd do a Gomez with you.
I have a Clan of the
Just to make
Golden
Carl happy.
Dragon. I have Street Gomez, Agent, regular Hazard Squad, the new Secret Agent, and the Holiday Gomez.
Holiday Gomez.
Although I did mention that we kind of started talking about how we started changing the outfit for our holiday figures. So my Holiday Gomez is currently Vacation Gomez.
Oh man, that's good. I
Thank you,
love
thank you.
that. That's really cool.
Thank you. I have to shout out my girlfriend. She got me the little shirt for Christmas. So
Really?
I knew I was gonna have to change his outfit for throughout the year. So try to get a little closer. You
Yeah,
can
this is
see.
I love that. Yeah, that she got that from GPS lot, is she not? Yeah, I think they have
um,
3 or 4 of them like that. Those are
I
good.
think she got it on eBay. I don't know
Yeah,
who the
exactly.
seller
Yeah.
was. Yeah, but yeah.
I think I have that in my cart. I'm gonna have to change the shirt.
But yeah, so I have him, but I mean, I can always change him back to holiday or
I
anything.
think
But
that Clan of the Golden Dragon is one I've never shot, and I
I've
haven't done
shot
it.
him once or twice, but
I haven't
yeah,
done a
it's a
ninja
rare
shot in
one.
a long time. That could be fun.
You want to do that?
But we'll talk about it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. But okay, so sounds good. I guess we'll talk about that later on. But it sounds like we're gonna stick with at least Clan or Gold, Clan of the Golden Dragon Gomez for at least the
Maybe
main figure.
we'll see. Batman could be fun too. I'm just trying to figure out like what could be cool. What could be cool. I
Or,
ordered a new suit this week today actually for I have a Ip Man head sculpt here.
oh,
And then I noticed that Best Lee Studio had one of those get-ups that he wears in the films, and I was
hmm
like, "Ooh, it's time for me to start building that figure." So it's going to be really fun to try to piece
what
him together and have an Ip Man figure.
what body are you gonna use?
I think the suit fits a Gomez body, so I'll
Okay.
probably, and I'm sorry to say this, but I have 2 Gomez of death, and, and I have one that's in a suit that Scott from Scotticus Customs sent me. I kind of made him into a gold ninja, so he sent me this gold ninja
hmm
uniform and or gi, and he looks really great. But then I have my other Game of Death, Gomez of Death figure that I just constantly am changing, So I
Yeah.
take the suit off and I can put him in a different context. So I'll check and see what I can do. Maybe that one, but I'd like to have those nice shoes that he wears. So I'll check and see what they could do. Yeah, I don't know. I might actually just go online and say, "Hey, does anybody have a body for sale?" And just pick that up so I can build the figure from there.
Yeah, that's always an option nowadays too.
Yeah,
eBay, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace.
yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. So, let me see. What's my next one? Oh, so what got you specifically into toy photography?
Uh, I was looking for a new hobby. I've always been interested in cameras. I had just finished a film podcast that I used to do because I like movies quite a bit, not as much as I used to. Like when I'm done with something, I've done what I feel like I'm doing. I'm almost done with what I like. I've been saying this for a while. I'm almost done with toy photography now.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, it's fun, but there's something I'm not getting out of it anymore, and then it's time to walk away. So, and eventually that'll be it. I'll just put it up in my stories or put it up on my thing. And I was like, that's the end. Take care. Bye.
Wow,
But
that's interesting.
it's the way I quit smoking. So that's the way I do it. But
No, I mean that's good. I mean, I'm just saying that's interesting. Like that's that. I mean, certain people, like they'll spend a lifetime in a hobby, whereas you're just like, I'm content.
yeah,
It's kind of like when Thanos rested, and he was just like, all
yeah,
right.
do what I had to do. Hence
Exactly.
the chin.
But
But yeah, we're gonna do this, and there goes that. But yeah, I had a film podcast. It was really. I was shooting short films. I loved film quite a bit, and I loved the analysis portion of it as well. And there was no podcast out there that was actually taking these deep dives into movies, looking into themes and meanings, and then taking philosophical approaches to it and stuff like that. Because, when I started teaching, it's one of those things that I missed. I missed university, and I missed writing essays and things like that. So it was really difficult for me to make that. So, yeah, I used to love that shit, man. Research. I used to be a research assistant at the university I used to go to. So, I was. I used to love writing essays. It was hard work, don't get me wrong, but it's that exploration and pushing your intellectual capacity beyond what you actually think. You're making links between things because of the breadth of knowledge that you've acquired through a lifetime of work and research. And so I wanted to try to apply that to a film podcast. And then I burnt myself out essentially because I started working full time. And then after that, when I had the podcast, I was also researching for the show full time. And this was just my thing. I used to do that for fun.
For free, yeah.
And then, for free as well. And then it became tedious because I wasn't spending time with my family. Work was lagging behind as a result. And so I just had these stress levels. But for what? Because I wanted to kind of flex my brain on a podcast that, maybe had 100 fans. But it's one of those things, I still am very proud of the work that we did, but at the same time, I was so time consuming. It's like I was working full time, for the better part of 2 years, but full time on 2 jobs. Mm-hmm. So then once my buddy and I, who's out in Ireland, we decided we don't want to do this anymore. Why are we doing this? We had set up to maybe do 10 last episodes on the 4th season, and we didn't even get through that. So I was slowly looking for something new to do. And The Force Awakens had just come out, and then I started seeing these things pop up on Facebook. Hot Kenobi showed up. And I remember people that are here probably have heard me talk about this before. It's just I saw a picture of Batman punching a beer can, making a small dent in it, and then you had Superman next to him kicking through the can, just kind of looking over at Batman. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, hey, there's a dude actually using toys in a very clever way. Yeah, he's building these stories that I that's what you do as a kid with your toys. You know what I mean? Yep. I saw that, and then I slowly started seeing the work of Sergeant Bananas, things like that.
Yes,
it's just popping up, and then I went on Instagram. And I remember typing in the hashtag toy photography and just seeing a couple of accounts. And I remember there was one account called Klaatu Magnus. He's just recently come back. He pops in and out. And he had done a shot of a stormtrooper slipping on ice. And I thought that was one of the funniest things. How the fuck did he make this figure fall? You have to be really quick to throw the figure and just kind of have the right settings and all that stuff. But then I found out about how they do those things after. Exactly, you take the stand out and all that. I saw Sir Dork's viral video as well, where he's using these firecrackers and shit. And I'm I'm never gonna be able to do that. Firecrackers in Canada are illegal. So it just. Black Series had just kind of regained a little bit of popularity as well. And I was going out and buying figures. And at one point I just kind of looked at my things and went, maybe I should give this a shot, So I opened up a Luke Skywalker, tried posing him, and I put him on my in front of my laptop on the screen. And I took a picture and I showed my wife and I was like, check it out. And she was like, yeah.
Yeah,
and that's kind of
validation. It's okay,
it's
good
okay,
job.
It's all right. Yeah. Supper's ready, and so And then I decided
versus what you get now when you show people your photos.
I don't know, man.
What I'm saying is versus what it used to be versus what you get now, the reaction.
I'm very fortunate, and at the same time, it's one of those balancing acts that's very difficult. When you're starting out, you want people to be impressed with your work. But then once you have a body of work and it becomes expectation, it's one of those things where you're like, well, what does it take to impress you now? If you're satisfied with seeing my work, you're like, they're saying, well, it's Jason, obviously he's going to put out something that's, and I'm like, it becomes a little bit difficult because you kind of want that approval a little bit still, but at the same time you want to just be doing it for yourself. So it's a tricky balancing act. So I'm in that right now where I'm trying to figure out where I fit in, you know, because you get those comments sometimes they're like, "Oh, this is great as always," and it's that as always that kind of sets the fuck with you a little bit. Where you know, I don't want to always be good. I want to fuck up, and I don't necessarily want to be told. I want to know. I want to know personally. You know what I mean? But I've recently also been taking shots for myself, things that I haven't posted, that I have no intention of posting. I was, you know, having trouble dealing with, you know, the lower reach now because of the update on the Instagram algorithm and things like that. So it starts playing with, you know, you work hard to build a following only to have it like, you know, the carpet just swept underneath your feet and you're like, what the fuck did I do? You know what I mean? So it's one of those.
Just, the algorithm is just something that nobody understands.
And like that was part of the new year is like, don't take this, you know, social media shit too seriously. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's a tricky position to be in because the last thing you want is to bore people. And if it's always good, then it's boring eventually. To me, you know what I mean?
Yes,
so
but
it's because you're expected to fail at some point, and that's the thing that you don't want because I've seen it. I've seen people pass shit around. They're like, oh boy, this guy's fallen off. And you're like, no, that's just not his best work. It's still a good shot. And then it's just the kind of backsided compliments and then the backside, like underneath the whole toy photography community, no matter how much people say it's like this, there's a lot of mean shit going on. There's a lot of competition that's a little bit frustrating as well and all that stuff because we're all trying to get the same attention. And there's a pat in the back and the punch, you know, in the gut simultaneously from my experience now anyway. But like I said, I'm in a fortunate position where, you know, I've been able to work with Mezco, and that's caused drama as well with some people that I was close to, or, you know, like me wanting to give information or, you know, trying to give them a plug to get them into the place. And I'm like, this is not the way that works, you know, and it becomes really weird and shady for a while. So, and I don't deal with that particularly well. You know, and so right now I'm just kind of like in that mindset of like, wow, what do I do? Do I just kind of do it for me and then just kind of let that go, or you know, do people expect anything? You know, I mean, is this just in my fucking head? You know, so it's a weird position to be in, just to be honest.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And honestly, Matt, I just want to say, at least from my perspective, I don't think you're going to bore anybody anytime soon. I mean, even though they tell you it's great as always, it's because every post that you post, at least from my perspective, tells a story, an interesting story. You can tell that you didn't just throw a bunch of figures there and take a picture. You can tell there was a lot of thought behind them. Like I said, your setups are very crisp, very clean. You can tell the time, the dedication, and the attention to detail that you put into them. And I don't think by any means you're going to be boring anybody anytime soon. And just the fact that, you know, you yourself are thinking that, it kind of just pushes you in a sense to kind of just come out with something better. So I think in that sense, you're just never going to bore anybody because you yourself are pushing yourself. We can always be our biggest critics, you know. I'm an amateur bodybuilder, and I can always look at myself when I'm getting ready for a contest and be like, well, I can be 10 times better. I can be this, you know. But that just kind of pushes me, you know. That pushes me to be better because I know I can be better. And it goes the same with you, you know. You yourself are pushing you. And I understand, and I don't understand. I can say that of those backhanded comments because unlike you, I'm kind of up and coming, you know. And I understand the part where you're saying, like, we all want to get that validation. But at the same time, we want to shoot what we want to shoot. And so it's interesting that you say that. And that's kind of why I wanted to get you on here because you do have that perspective of being, you know, big on Instagram. You know, obviously, like you said before, you know, your students are like, oh, you're TikTok famous. And that doesn't really mean anything.
No, it doesn't. It's funny, though. Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you do deal with those issues that the social media famous people deal with. Like you said, you have a lot of great comments, but a lot of backhanded comments, which is kind of odd because I have nothing but respect for your work and everything. To me, it motivates me, it inspires me, it pushes me to be better. I've learned a lot from you, seeing how you pose, how you work with your lighting and everything. And so in my opinion, the people that are just giving you those backhanded comments are just the people that aren't willing to put in the work and the dedication to learn the craft that you've learned, to put in the time that you've put in. You know, every hobby, anything that anybody's good at, it's taking time, effort, dedication to be good at. And people that tend to negate that and criticize you for those things are just people that aren't willing to put in that work and stuff. So in my opinion, man, you're very motivational, you're very inspirational, whether or not you try to be, and you do produce a lot of great work that I don't think anybody's going to get bored with anytime soon. So I don't know what that means to you, but that's
No, it means a lot. Thanks,
in my
man.
opinion.
No, it's great. It's wonderful to hear. Like I said, you know, and it's just like I said, it's a thought process. You know what I mean? Everyone has.
Like I said, we can be our own biggest critics, man.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But yeah,
but I'm still having some fun. You know what I mean? That's it. It's just one of those shifts where when you start getting a little bit of notoriety, you're like, well, you know, should I turn this into a business venture? Should I turn it into? And that's when the fun for me starts getting out, you know, coming out of it, because then you start looking at numbers and whether or not you can actually make it work. Then, like, you know, you're getting emails from different people and companies and shit, and then they don't message you back, so it's a waste of time. And then it just becomes a really complicated thing where I'm like, do I pursue it or do I not? You know, and so it's you know, right now for 2022 anyway, it's right now I'm just one of those things where I'm like, I think that one of the things my wife told me, she says, just let it happen. If you get an email you feel like answering, you answer. If you get an email you don't feel like answering, don't answer. You know, she says, you don't always have to be on. She says, this is something you do, and that's it. And so,
exactly.
Yeah, but that's it. No, I'm working on that. It's a very, how can I say it? I'll explain something. Like one of my favorite shots recently is the shot of Hawk P40 that I did. You know, where he's got a drone head and all that stuff. And that shot,
the one where it's flying and stuff, and he has like the remote.
Yeah, he's got a remote. And he's flying his own head, and it was one of those outside the box ideas that I really, really loved, and it fell flat. Like most people were like, "Oh yeah," people were like, "What the fuck is this?" And I think it's in part like the story I was telling, the character I used, and it's just a combination of things that I thought were funny because it's my sense of humor. But then people were like, I have no idea what the fuck this is. I even talked to my mom the next day because my mom's like one of my biggest cheerleaders, and she says, when I saw that, Jason, I thought that maybe you were lacking a little bit of sleep. It's really funny because like you it's the last thing. Like your mom has always been like super encouraging, and then at one point she was like, "It's not ugly. It's just what is it?" You know? And I was like, "Mom, it's the shipping crisis. You know, all the fucking boats. You know." And it's just there's this guy who's got a plane for a head, and like he's bringing the action figures to people. He's bringing them to shore. And she was like, "Oh, see, I didn't understand any of that." And I was like, "It's because you're not part of the toy community, Mom." She's like, "Well, it's okay." She says, "What is that figure? He's so weird."
But see, I think that's what's the big appeal about Rumble Society is that they are weird figures that don't have a big background attached to them, and you can really do what you want with them and make of them what you will, kind of like you did. You know, it would tied in the shipping crisis with a Rumble Society figure that just, you know, I understand that because like I was posting a lot of Gomez shots, and my cousin, he's like, you know, these are really cool pics and all, but who is this cockroach guy? Like, why are you posting them? Like, you were posting Batman and Star Wars, and now you're just posting this cockroach guy. It's like, who is he? And I had to explain, like, Rumble Society and Mezco and all that stuff. So I totally understand that. But like I said, that was one of the pictures that I saw, and I started laughing too. You know, I was like, oh, yeah, honestly, the shipping crisis. And I was like, that's really cool how you thought about his head being its own drone and everything, and he's controlling it. I thought it was a very interesting shot, in my opinion. I totally got it, but I'm in the Mezco community. So.
And it's weird because what I did is I was trying to light daylight, and it was a nighttime, at my place. Normally, what I do is I'll leave the curtains open and I'll get a little bit of that ambient light.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to another photographer who's like, "You don't block out the light?" And I was like, "Nah, doesn't matter. If I notice it's too much light, I'll just kind of,
dim it out."
Exactly, with my aperture and whatnot. And so it doesn't fucking matter. Or my shutter speed, I'll turn that way down. And they're like, "Yeah, but don't you want long exposure to get a crisper image?" And I was like, "No, they look fine once they'll be fine. It's not something."
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if you took like one of my 1.6 shooter, Trevor's pictures, it's probably really fucking crisp next to mine. Like if you print them out side by side, because he knows exactly what he needs to do to get that image. But to me, I'm like, I'm gonna tell the story, and if I have ambient light, I thought it was really, really, it's fine. It works for me because I'm not using a bounce or anything like that, so I'm fine with it. And Hawk P40, I remember when I saw the character, I was like, oh, this is the rock steady of the Rumble Societies. This is the Rhino guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, I need now some sort of like pig figure or something that's going to look like Bebop. Because I feel like Hawk P40 is kind of one of those guys. He just looked so fun, as
totally
a character. So he reminded me of the Ninja Turtles all over again.
No, yeah, I totally get that. Honestly, Hawk P40 was, again, one of those figures where I saw and I was like, as cool as he looks, at all these pictures that people are posting, I was just like, he looks really cool. He's just not the figure for me. And then slowly more people started posting pics when they started getting him in hand. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think I fucked up by passing on this guy. Thankfully, I was able to pick him up on eBay, I believe, for $80. He was used, but
he's not popular at all.
Yeah, I mean, but in my opinion, he's actually a really cool figure. He grew on me, and like I was telling Paige when he was on, with these, and I keep saying, with these Rumble Society figures, yes, they have a loose background, but you don't really have to stick with it. And so for me, Hawk B40 is the leader of my Black Skulls.
That's cool. I like that idea.
We don't technically have like a proper leader for our Black Skulls yet. So I was like, he kind of looks like he'd be, at least like the head lieutenant of anything before the big bad, So
that makes sense. Like an underboss.
Exactly. So I have a few pics where like he's like leading them and stuff. So that's just in my head. That's where he fits.
Perfect idea, man. I love that. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like the figures that didn't do it for me were the Krieg. I'm like, I posted that one shot with Rudolph, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I mean,
it works, but yeah, the figure itself is.
It's okay. I feel like using him as like a lieutenant for stormtroopers, where he's an elite guy, like that, because that's what I think that he's based off of. The Pale Driver, anyway. He looks like a stormtrooper. So, but other than that, I'm like, for me, like as a person who likes variety, I was like, how do you put out 4 figures with the same fucking head? So I understand the variants, and all that stuff. And I think there's still one to come out, but
the Murder Hornets, right?
Yeah, the Killer Bees, Wu-Tang Clan coming at you. But and I don't know what I'm going to do with my Pale Krieg. There, part of me wants to keep him. Another part of me just wants to send him out to a friend and surprise him. Like, here, I don't want this. Do you want it? But yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store for Rumble this year. That's for damn sure.
So why don't we go ahead and get into that? Because that was kind of one of my questions as well. Like, what are your expectations of 2022 for Mezco?
Oh, well, I mean, they did tease quite a bit so far, right? Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy, definitely. That I'm looking forward to like hell. There's a classic-looking Batman with Two-Face. That looks really good. There's a few things that I don't know if I'll keep in my pre-orders. Thinking like specifically the Crow. I'm like, I used to like that when I was 14. I don't really give a shit about it today. So yeah, Angel, Gaslight Batman. That figure looks fucking amazing. So that's another Batman. That's going to probably be the second Batman that Mezco does.
Yeah, only number 2. I don't know what
exactly.
they're thinking, man.
Except my gold mine of bats is the Bruce Wayne money. But but what did you want? Like what I'm excited for, or things that I'd like to see?
Both. Like, what are you excited for that we know for sure, and what would you like to see in the line come out 2022?
I'm excited to see Captain Nemo get in the hands of people.
Okay.
that I'm excited for because people don't realize how cool that figure looks in hand. When they're gonna open up the boxes, they'll be like, "What the fuck? This figure has Popeye level head sculpt." You know what I mean? He
Oh,
just looks phenomenal, and he's got this presence about him. Just when he's the type of figure that you want to have on your shelf, but at the same time you don't want to get dust on him, so you want to put him back in the box because he just looks
yeah,
so good. You know what I mean?
yeah. Your
So
shots of him came out really good too.
yeah, I those shots I had so much fun doing. I prefer the one that looks like a painting over the
That
one
one
that
looked good.
yeah, I like that. That was so much fun to shoot in my living room, just make a mess of water and shit. But I love that. That was fun. I am looking forward to eventually taking more shots of Captain Nemo because of the submarine my dad built and all that stuff, the little thing.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward for people to get Nemo in hand. They're gonna love it. I can guarantee they're gonna love it. It's just one of those characters that you're like, why do I need this? And why does he look so cool? It's just one of those other figures. What I'm hoping that they release, what I'm hoping that they do, is I think it's fucking time for some new pink skulls. I want some new skulls. I've got my 2 packs here. I'm glad with the 6 that I have, but I would love for people that haven't had a chance to have them to have some. Exactly. I really feel like
Yeah.
it's time for some new pink skulls. These are characters. There's just so much money to be made. People are
Yes.
gonna order so
Especially,
many of these things. Cousin Eddie, yes,
especially,
is great.
yeah. So especially with this guy, this is my first skull in a sense. So I
And they
dubbed
brought
this
the
guy
caddy
Street
skull
Eddie,
back there. That's so cool.
right? So I'm hoping they do some green skulls because, like I said, my green's my favorite color. So they've done pink, they've done black, they've done blue with Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they do some green skulls. I'd be willing to buy 3 of those.
That could be cool eventually, yeah. I think just because the Pink Skulls Chaos Club is part of the name, so I don't think that they're going to be green anytime soon. But eventually, I mean, you could technically the brokers themselves, if ever you were to get those skulls that they sell separately and paint them green yourself, that could make
Oh yeah,
something cool. Because they
that's
give those
true.
skulls away. Well, they don't give them away, but I mean, they sell those packs of skulls for $25 for 10 or something like
Yeah,
that, and so then you just kind of or you can find someone to paint skulls for you and put those on the brokers. That'd be
yeah.
cool. But yeah, some
Oh
new
yeah.
paint skulls that I definitely would love, and it's going to be hilarious because they're going to make boatloads of cash with those skulls, not just from people who want them, but people who are going to bulk buy those fuckers so that they can resell them down the line. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
hoping that Mezco just keeps the pre-order open for like a week, and so that slowly you see the sadness on the faces of the people that ordered like 10 and they're locked in with those non-refundable deposits.
And
But
they're like,
anyway,
shit, I'm barely gonna
I
make
like
back
oh,
what I
shit
spent.
exactly. You're gonna see them pop up on eBay for like $500 or $700 a can, and you're like, nope,
Uh,
that's not gonna happen.
they're like, nope,
Yeah,
I got my
so
3.
exactly. I'll probably order two sets of those if ever they put them out again. They're the best.
I
They're
wish
the
I knew.
best. They're the best fucking figures. But it's because once you get them in hand, how many do I think
Yeah.
Pedro will get? All of them. Once it's because they have so much personality,
They
you know.
do.
So
And Mezco keeps using them in their adverts and stuff, especially during the
exactly,
holidays.
it's
It's
just like
like,
torture. Everyone's like, I want
yeah,
that. What the fuck are you guys doing?
exactly. That's how I felt. I was just like, I got into it way past, their release and everything. So yeah, I look online, it's like 700 for one figure. I'm just like, really, guys? Come
Makes no
on.
sense. No sense. But
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love it if they did a Beetlejuice figure. That'd be really fun. Um,
you think they'll ever do Scooby Doo? I know you guys kind of touched upon that. I think someone brought it up in the comments last time you and Paige talked about it, but
yeah, Scooby Doo
I
would
think
be
Scooby
really
Doo would be,
fun. Yeah. I
I
mentioned
mean,
Tintin would be fun as well.
yeah,
Waldo from Where's Waldo would be cool, but Beetlejuice would probably be my biggest ask. Oh, if they were to release a new Popeye, they teased at 5 points.
which
Um,
one?
uh, the boxing Popeye.
Oh,
I'd love that. I'd love if they were to put out a new Popeye.
Mhm.
I'd
Like
love it if there
auction
were a
gloves.
112 Popeye.
That'd be
That would be
cool.
really cool. And then you could use the Bluto body. I was talking with Paige. I think it was talking with Paige. The Bluto body for the other guy that comes with. I don't remember what his name is, but anyway, but that would be cool.
So those are your hopes for 2022.
Yeah, new Popeye boxing. I'd like Beetlejuice. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm hoping that 89 Batman drops so that people can stop talking about it, and I'm sick of fucking hearing about it. That'd be really
Yeah.
fun. More Pink Skulls. I'd love to have a Ronan Gomez as well.
A what?
Ronan Gomez.
Oh.
You
So
know,
kind
instead
of like, yeah.
Lone Roach,
Instead
but
of
like
yeah.
not that version, like a decked out fucking armored Ronan Gomez.
Is this coming from a little of that Ninja Turtle inspiration background from the, comic series right now?
I think so, yeah. It could possibly. I'd love to see that. That's a good call, man. I think so, yeah, because I'm waiting for that last issue to drop.
You and me both, man. You and me both.
I haven't read the other ones. I'm waiting.
You haven't read the other ones?
No,
yet,
I read the first one. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
I won't say anything. I'll hold my tongue because I haven't said anything, but I am a huge Ninja Turtle fan as well, too.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been following that. Every time it drops, I go to the comic book shop, I pick it up, and I read it in the first, 20 minutes. I'm just like, okay, I need the next issue. And they're like, you got to wait 4 or 5 months for the
exactly.
next drop.
Like,
so
fuck
I'm
this.
just like,
I might actually just collect them all and then wait for the trade paperback and read it all in one sitting. Just so I have all the books.
Yeah. I was actually able to get the Eastman cover for the first one, the one that he did. Yeah, so it looks really cool. Yeah, it's like kind of looks like the Dark Knight Returns cover, but with the Last Ronin on the cover and stuff, and it's all in the Eastman style and everything. So it looks really cool. I read it once with the gloves on and everything, and I put it in its plastic, and I put it away. I was like, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna get a hard case for this, because I think I paid like $30 for it because it was like one of those 1 of 10 covers and stuff. But like I really wanted it. It just looks beautiful and stuff. Anything Eastman does is just magnificent. I wish I was around back then when when him and Laird put out those original comics and stuff.
Even I was a kid. That was what, 86. I was 6 years old when the Ninja Turtles came out. So there's no way.
Yeah, I was like -10.
There you go. It's an afterthought in your dad's balls. There you go.
Yeah, barely, if anything. I think he was a little preoccupied with my older brother and sister at that time.
There you go. So I don't know. Yeah, those are things I'd love to see. What else? I'd like a new Joker figure.
Yeah. More of a more classic one, kind of like the MDX one that they had released. Because, like I said, I got in late, so that one's like $600 too much for me right now. So,
I have a friend of mine who sent that one to me as a gift.
Ooh, the MDX one or just the standard version?
MDX.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." Oh, look, Jake is here. There you go, Jake.
Oh, Western Gomez, someone said.
Yeah, so I'm wearing my Holiday Gomez shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's Jake. That's
cool.
I asked him to make one for me, and he was very kind to do that.
Okay, that's a cool shirt, man.
Bearded Boobin. Go give Jake a follow. The Bearded Boobin. Go get that. Go give him a follow.
But
Joe's Garage Joker. Yeah, that'd be great.
Someone said Western Gomez.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood type Gomez would be great. I think that's something that. Did they tease it at some point? I think they did. I'm not 100% sure. No, but it's because, you gotta. Mezco are very fun that way, is that you're going to be looking at an image, or you're going to be watching a video, or you're going to get something like on packaging or in a magazine or something shit, and then you don't even know what you're looking at, but they've teased like 4 figures. So they're always kind of like hiding it in plain sight all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's some of those
kinda
things
like with the
where
Advent calendar.
Yeah, that.
They just had everybody lined up.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this seems to be coming. You know what I mean? And then they'll sometimes just look at your packaging, people. Sometimes you'll be like, holy shit, look at that thing. What is that?
Yeah, the high roller box had a bunch on it.
Yeah,
that one has a lot of potential.
But it's so it's some of those things where you're like, huh. I remember, what was it? It was Stealth Gomez. Mm-hmm. When you look at the box, that's the first appearance of Lone Roach.
Oh, on the tin.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, look at that. And then we had Ultraman Gomez on there. So one of those things when you're like, oh, they're going to tease Ultraman. Are they going to put a Gomez Ultraman hit in there with those light up feature? I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if ever they decided to include it just because it was on that tin. So they're always teasing you. So it's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just have to wait and see. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, right?
What about
They
you?
released like what, 4 or 5 last year?
Yeah, well, it's because people got like a overdose, right? They had released like 13 over the course of a year and a half, and then people were like, "It's enough now. What the fuck? We're like getting roach fatigue. Huh? It's an infestation." And so this year they kind of calmed down on it, you know, so that they could give more room to other Rumble characters and whatnot. And so that to me was a good idea. Helped my wallet out quite a bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy. So I'm hoping to see. I don't know where they can go. You know, I don't have the imagination they have when it comes to Gomez.
I guess that's the fun of it, right? It's like they can really go anywhere with it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, some people thought that We Hate Haters T-shirt, like they had that Back to the Future type. You know, to me, it was the Roach without a cause. So the James Dean looking with the red jacket and jeans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that I think would be a really great addition. The Roach without a cause. Even if they want to call it the Back to the Future, that's totally fine. But Western Gomez would definitely be something that's awesome. Just imagine like those cowboy boots, you know, on him, and they give him the Clint Eastwood, you know,
the vest and everything, get up.
Yeah, exactly. What was it? A poncho that he's wearing, you know, in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That'd be awesome. You know, maybe have that little. I don't know if they're allowed to put that cigarette on the side. You know?
I think Mezco can, especially with Rumble. That's a part of the fun of
Spurs.
Rumble, that it's there. Spurs is that they can really do anything with these figures. They're not tied to any license or anything. You know, it's really whatever they want to do with it, and that's the fun of it. You know, it's all original ideas.
Yeah, Chucks with Spurs. That'd be awesome. But it'd be really funny because then you could tie it back to the Future Part 3, when he's like, "What are those, Nikkei?" You know, he's just pointing to the shoes, and so Gomez with Converse shoes, or like the Chucks with Spurs on it, would be a really great callback to the Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
That's funny. So,
what would you like to see?
Well, or what?
Oh yeah, of course, Back to the Future, man.
Yeah, that's one of my top 5 movies.
When I got my second COVID vaccine, it was one of those things where, like the first one, I was totally fine. Nothing happened. Second one, just like, it was...
knocked you out.
Fuck. And what I decided to do is, like, I'm on the couch. My daughters were helping me out and bringing me ice cream and Lipton.
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Oh, I'm so sorry about that, man. I don't know what happened.
It happens. It's the internet, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like all of a sudden you said you froze, and then next thing you know it, I froze, and it just told me it ended. I was like, I had to like restart my phone real quick for it to work. Well, I mean, I've kind of kept you for a while, so I guess we should probably wrap this up. I don't know if it's getting too late for you over there, but
I only have to. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
okay.
gonna watch the second episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, you want to talk about that for a bit?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
No, I'm saying like just your thought. No. I mean like just your thoughts on like the first episode.
First episode, sure, man.
Sure. Okay. Well, what do you think on it? Because like I've heard a lot of mixed things about it. Like some people love it, some people are hating on it. Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, you see the Boba Fett helmet. Was it right here?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because in the entire trilogy, the original trilogy anyway, I think, what does he have, 6 lines of dialogue, roughly?
If anything.
And so people have built up this figure or character in their minds for so long based on his armor and how badass he looks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, his introduction in The Mandalorian kind of confirmed that. There's a lot of... I'm just taking it in stride. I mean, I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, they're setting shit up. It's definitely not going to be exciting. You know,
it's the first episode.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of The Mandalorian and I remember going like, ooh, this is... I hope it's going to get a little bit less Star Trek-y. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think Book of Boba Fett is one of those things where I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see where it goes. It should be interesting eventually. You know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was okay as an episode. I wasn't bored by it. I wasn't excited either. I thought that the fight choreography was, could have been better. I don't understand what Robert Rodriguez, who's known for being able to cut action together quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, what the fuck happened there, Robert? So
No, yeah.
that it was a clumsy fight scene, I thought, with a little bit of parkour, and I was like, isn't parkour like 2010? What are we still doing that shit for? Like Bond did it back in 2006 when they like rebooted the entire thing, or 2009. I don't know. Like, who gives a shit about that stuff anymore? But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, good-looking Star Wars. So I'll watch. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's building on lore that I find interesting. I like the creatures that are there. It's getting me motivated to maybe dip my toe back into photographing Star Wars, because that's what I used to do kind of just always when I first started out. Now I've kind of wandered away from it because I've completely fallen out of love with Star Wars, especially the Star Wars community. I've had trouble with them.
They're something else.
It's just one of those things where when you hear people talk about it, they talk about it and they forget that they've changed. Star Wars hasn't. It's one of those things where they like, for me anyway, I have like one of my friends, I had to talk to him, and I'll take that as a specific example. I don't want to shit on the Star Wars community because, well, I don't mind losing a couple of followers. It's one of those things where I remember talking, I was like, listen, you're a 40-year-old man. The last time you loved Star Wars, you were a young boy.
Yeah.
Star Wars adapts with every generation. My kids love the sequel trilogy. Maybe not the last one. They were kind of a little bit dumbfounded by the last one. They were like, I don't know. But they loved the two first films. And that's their Star Wars. It's the same way as like that cycle came back where the people that enjoyed and grew up with the prequels came back and said, no, fuck you guys and your old shit. We like it, we understand it, but this is our Star Wars. And it actually, it panned out where people are actually a little bit more respectful towards the prequels. Like that vitriol kind of died down. And it's the same cycle over and over again, especially now that Disney owns it and stuff like that. It's the same thing. People were universally accepting of The Mandalorian, except for like the filler episodes that they call it and all that stuff, which I totally get. But we're hearing that same thing over with the Book of Boba Fett, the first episode. Well, fuck, and people are just massively complaining after the first fucking episode. Wait, it's a series that goes across. They're going to have 6 episodes or 8 episodes. I don't remember how many they said they were going to do. Wait a bit. Yeah. Instead of starting why do you want to hate Star Wars or hate on Star Wars? Thought you liked this shit. You know what I mean? Why?
You would think, man. You would think.
We want it to be good. You're ruining it. Not them. You are.
Exactly.
So,
it's like you said, it's the first episode and people are already judging it like it's on season 2 or 3 of it. It's like you can't just right off the bat jump into a show. You got to set stuff up. You got to go into things. And as it is, I mean, they don't already have to spend a lot of time setting up. So you just have to deal with this for like 1 or 2 episodes and then the story will take off. It's an established character. You just need a little bit of setup and backstory of where he's at now, what's going to happen and stuff. And then you'll get to the action and everything. I liked how they showed him escaping the Scarlet pit and all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. I even heard people saying like, oh, it should have been more intense and more of this. It's like,
I feel the same. I won't complain about it, but I do feel like it was easy.
I'll give it that. It was a little easy. They should have showed him maybe like doing a little bit more, maybe cutting through and stuff like that. But I thought it was pretty cool how they showed him at least like waking up in the Sarlacc pit and like shoving his hand through and turning on his flamethrower and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've barely started the second episode, so I don't really have a judgment on it or anything. So yeah, I mean, hopefully you enjoy it. It seems like I'm
enjoying the Sand People. I'm enjoying this exploration of that culture. That
like it seems like we're getting more and more.
Yeah. They're like, we haven't talked about these people.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's cool.
It's a character base that's always been there, that we just don't know too much about that we're finally getting some backstory to.
Thought Boba was much younger in Return of the Jedi. Well, we gotta look at because Attack of the Clones, he's a kid, right? So he's a kid, and Attack of the Clones, Anakin Skywalker is still a teenager.
Yeah.
By the time we get to A New Hope, how old is Vader? It's like early 30s, at least.
Yeah, maybe late 20s if anything. Like, if
Yeah.
that.
By the time we get to the end, I mean, Luke has grown significantly as well. So by the time we get to the end, I'd say there's got to be at least a 10-year period. So Vader must be in at least his 40s.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's a little bit younger than that, so maybe mid-30s. So
Yeah,
this is
somewhere
6
around there.
years after. So yeah, I guess Angel's right. The age is a little bit weird, but he's a clone, right? So I don't know how they age.
Yeah.
There's always
But
an
at the same
explanation in
time,
Star Wars.
Yeah. It's always something. It was the Bacta tank. That's what's keeping them young, right?
Yeah. It could look old because of the fact of the acid from the
The
Sarlacc pit.
Sarlacc pit. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
could have fucked them up, So maybe, technically speaking, I look 50, but I'm actually just 25. I got Boba Fett blood.
Are you looking forward to the new Kenobi series?
Yes, very much so. I'm disappointed they're bringing Vader back.
Really? And why is that?
We don't need to see Vader anymore.
That makes sense.
We've seen everything we need to see about Vader. Like Obi-Wan at this point is in charge of taking care of Luke. If they put out probes in order to find Vader's kids, then it would be interesting. Then I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, like, Vader is so busy with the Emperor. If you read Lords of the Sith, like, that's the last thing on his mind. He's just busy trying to take shit apart with the Force and, just making sure that the Empire is good. If you read the Vader comics as well, yes, there's a certain aspect where he does send Boba to explore a couple of things. Boba actually visits, Obi-Wan's hut and things like that, comic books.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I don't see why. Like, I like that line in A New Hope where he says, I haven't felt this since, and then it's just, an ellipsis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, since should have been since we fought on fucking Mustafar.
That's true.
I love that gap.
That's true.
That Obi-Wan would have tried to pretend like he's gone or dead or whatever the fuck, maybe, if he's far away, he can't feel it or anything like that. So I don't think Vader is necessary.
That's a good point. I never thought about that way, but yeah, when you look at it from like actual Star Wars and everything, yeah, it makes sense that Vader would be too preoccupied with doing the Emperor's bidding to even think about going to Tatooine and all that stuff. So
why would he want to return to Tatooine in the first place? He hates sand. He was a slave there.
His mom died. So.
His mom died there. It's one of those places. Maybe it's like a fulcrum for him to go replenish his hate, but at the same time, I'm like, does he really? Chances are they won't meet there. Chances are that it's going to be on some other planet or something like that. Obi-Wan's going to probably be drawn off planet, most likely. Hopefully, anyway. I definitely do not want to see Vader step into the fucking cantina.
just
in Mos Eisley, exactly. He just walks in and everybo's just like, we don't serve your kind here, droids. And then people are like, oh, what the fuck? He's not a droid. I don't want to see any of that crap.
He just murders everybody after they call him a droid.
Exactly. So they chop off fucking, the arm again, and it's like, oh, not this shit again. I just got that one reattached.
Oh man, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they do with it. Hopefully they don't do anything too horrible. Hopefully they just make it fit somehow. Hopefully they just make it fit into the lore somehow. I don't know how.
I mean, if it makes sense, then I'll be happy. But I mean, I think we've said everything we need to say with Vader. Even the comic books, I'm like, this is awesome. But at the same time, when I watch the movies, I'm like, this is not the same character at all.
Yeah, I think what they gave us in Rogue One was just enough to like.
That was perfect.
Give us. Yeah, it was just enough, and it was it was kind of like Boba back in the day too. It was like it gave us enough to where it was like tease us, but not so much where it gave us so much, you know. It was just enough to whet our appetite, but at the same time get us going and thinking like, ooh, like this is what he was back when he was in his prime, you know, back before A New Hope and stuff. It's like because back then, as menacing as a character as he was, just the technology and everything didn't allow him to move like he was a menacing character.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now we can, you know, CGI Vader or give him a more agile suit, and it looks like okay, this is somebody who should be imposing and stuff. Whereas back then, he kind of looked like he was walking kind of stiff, and you're just like, well, how is this guy going to be able to do all this? But when you see that hallway scene, you know, like you're just like, okay, this is why everybody feared this guy because he was, yeah, just that.
And it's so scary because like my interpretation of that scene is so different than everybody else. Everybody's like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, this is so sad because it's this character that we know from a young age, and it's him at his most corrupt. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, this is incredibly sad to see him like completely be consumed at this point, like this evil fuck. Where you know you saw him as a kid grow up, and you understand that there's an innocence involved in what he's doing, and he thinks he's doing what's right. You know, but it's just like you're like, wow, this is how terrible he's become. What a shame. You know, because you know there's someone good at this, and you know about Return of the Jedi, where he admits there was something good the entire time, and you're like, then what the fuck? How did you do that? How were you that terrible? You know, so it's one of those things where, to me, when I remember seeing it in the movie thing, going like, oh my god, this is amazing, but it's so fucking sad to see him just destroy everything. You know, that's just not him. He's destroying so much shit that those people aren't the people he's destroying. He's destroying something completely different. Anyway, my interpretation of the scene, but yeah, it was a sad moment.
That's an interesting interpretation because I was under the category where it's like, oh, that's a badass scene, but now you're getting me to look at it like thinking about episode 1, episode 2, and then leading up to that.
In that like, context,
yeah, you're just like,
that's why, like, at the end of The Mandalorian, that's the same thing to me. Like, to me, that's why it reconfirmed how I felt about The Last Jedi, where Luke didn't understand the Jedi teachings were wrong, you know, because the whole prequel trilogy is meant to tell you that the Jedi are fucking idiots. Mm-hmm. They're just so consumed with they lose track of who Palpatine is because of their greed for power. They're exactly the same as the Sith. And Luke in that hallway destroying all those droids, in a sense, he's essentially fighting his father all over again, going through them, massacring them and all that stuff. And he decides to train Grogu. And you're like, but you're repeating the same fucking pattern. We don't want the kid to die, obviously, because he's so cute and he's invulnerable and all that stuff. But at the same time, you're like, dude, you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, fucking, what's her name? She had the right idea. She says, I can't train him. He's still too... Ahsoka, you know, she had the right idea. She makes perfect sense when she says, I'm not going to train him. And you see Luke, and I cheered. I was happy to see Luke. And at the same time, I felt the same fucking sadness. I was like, he's repeating the same fucking pattern again. He's failing. This is where the failure begins. He repeats the pattern of the Jedi. And so I was like, fuck. It looks great, but I have mixed feelings. I'm seeing one of my favorite characters go down the path he's not supposed to. He's supposed to be the wisest of them all, and he's just repeating the same pattern.
Well, I mean, I guess all we can do is wait and see what they do with him, and hopefully, I don't know. Do you think we'll get to see what he does with Grogu, or do you think that's going to be left for just our imaginations?
I think we might see that in a comic book.
Okay, so you don't think a live-action show, but just in a comic series?
Well, how do you film a live-action show with, like, just Mark Hamill's face double? You know
that's true.
At one point, people are going to be like, this uncanny valley is really fucking me up. You can get away with it for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, for a whole series, you know, like, people are going to be like, this is creepy.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess we'll have to see how the Mandalorian even does without Grogu. I heard, you know, that's a big part of the fan base is Grogu and stuff. I'm really hoping it does well without him because I feel like there's a lot to tell in that universe still without Grogu and just following Mando. I
feel like we're going to get real Star Wars once Grogu's out of the picture. Not that I don't like the character. I love the character.
Mm-hmm.
However, I agree with Angel. I feel like when you want to start dipping into the lore of Mandalore, and now that he has the Darksaber, you know,
You can.
then now we're going to start getting like, we'll call it Star Trek level Star Wars, in the sense that the diehard fans are going to be like, all right, tell me these stories. I want to see how this happens. You know, it's going to be really interesting to get into that history. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they explore more on the Mandalorian. Like I said, it's the Mandalorians that really got me, or not got me, but that's what I love about Star Wars. It's, you know, Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Mandalorians in general. And so when they announced the Mandalorian, I was hyped. And then when they brought in Bo-Katan and Costco Reeves, I was like, all right, so now we're even getting more Mandos in. So they'll just be able to build more and more on that lore. And yeah, hopefully in season 3, they just dive head on into all that and stuff.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I love that. I mean, I remember reading the Darth Maul comic, you know, and when he was actually like the Mandalorians would come, you know, free him, and all that. That was interesting, you know, to see that how he's tied to them in a way. Also, you know, you bring Darth Maul into it. So it's interesting because you're like, wow, these they're on both sides of the spectrum. You'll have the Mandalorians that understand who the Jedi are and all that stuff, but they're frequenting the Sith as well because that's part of their heritage. And you're like, wow, they're really mixed up in so many of these conflicts, and yet, you know, they seem somewhat oblivious because it somehow relates to them retaining their culture. So it's a really interesting, you know, dynamic that they have, the Mandalorians. So I understand why it captivated so many people.
Oh yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I really hope they dive into that and show like that fight and struggle to reclaim Mandalore in like the 3rd season. You know, I think that'd be a really interesting story to go down.
Let's see. Oh shit, I can't see the comments. Mild Mannered Reporter wrote something about Harrison Ford that I didn't see.
Let me see.
For some reason, every time I'm on doing this, I can't scroll down. Otherwise, it shuts down my screen. I'm like, so.
Let me see. Doesn't know if you want an Anakin. I don't see anything about Harrison Ford.
It's one of the last comments. Right now we have Angel that wrote the Clone Wars. It's got some Mandalorians and builds on Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yeah.
That's what I got. That's like the last comment I have.
But then there are like 3 comments earlier. There's one that says Mild Mannered Reporter. He's got Clark Kent as an avatar.
I can't find it.
It's all good. Well, if Carl's still there, just rewrite your thing. I wanted to see what it was. I couldn't see it. But I probably won't see any more messages, though, sadly, because whatever.
Yeah, I have my laptop right here, but like I don't want to be looking down. I'm like talking to you and stuff, so I check it occasionally, but I don't like to like divert my attention.
Makes sense. Cool.
Anything else you want to touch upon, man?
Nah, man, I'm good. I don't really have anything else. I mean, I'm looking forward to the collaboration. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start talking about that and stuff, and hopefully get that out pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to seeing your and Jason's collaboration from Work More or Less.
Yeah, I want to reshoot that. Most likely tomorrow. It'll be fun.
The double
Ninja
Jason
Turtles
shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, that'd be fun.
So you're gonna reshoot the Ninja Turtle one or the collab shot?
Collab shot. I'm gonna reshoot that. I know exactly what the setup is. I know exactly how to set it up. It's just a few things, a few details that I want to put in that I don't have. So yeah, but Ninja Turtle shot. Yeah, I'm probably gonna set that up. I'm gonna try that most likely tomorrow. My wife goes back to work tomorrow, like her vacation ends. So I'm just like you know. And on one hand, I'm like, oh, that sucks. You know, it'd been great to spend the day with her. On the other hand, I'm like, well, once I've done the dishes and the laundry, I'm pretty much can shoot all day. So.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have lunch with her. That's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, that's nice. And at least you get to see her during the day and stuff.
Oh yeah. It just kind of sucks because she works from home now. Not good because of COVID restrictions and shit. So poor her. I'm hoping that tomorrow I can push her out the door so she can go skating at lunch.
Well, yeah, get some fresh air. You know, get out of the house.
Yep.
The guy actually did retype his it's not a question, it's a comment. He said Harrison Ford was seen on set of Boba Fett, so we might get a classic Han and Chewie a la Luke and Mando, he says.
No fucking way.
So he says, so
wow. That's interesting. That'd be really fun. And it would make sense.
It fits in that timeline, so.
Yep, it does. Definitely does. Wow, Jesus, just imagine how much the internet's going to explode if that happens.
I
Yeah.
yeah, that the scores for Mando are like here. As soon as that happens, they're just gonna shoot up through the roof and stuff. Or
Fucking
Boba,
hell. Yeah.
So I mean that'd
But
be a really good.
I want them to use it in a good way. I don't want,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I don't want like, Boba Fett, where? Is this another one of those fucking instances where he's knocked back into another Sarlacc pit or some shit,
It's
and that's
like
the end of the book of Boba Fett?
just the end. It just blacks out. Just the end.
Exactly. Boba Fett, where? He just whacks him again. I'm hoping there's a funny line like, I thought you were dead, or some shit like that, you know?
Something that'd be interesting though to see them like actually reunite and like come face to face and like kind of like that, kind of in a way like where Han looks at him like, well, shouldn't you be dead?
Yeah, that or like, you know, I don't know, but I'm hoping for something funny. Anyway, that's for damn sure, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
So,
don't
all
know.
right. So you're gonna reshoot that pic, but other than that, you gonna plan on doing any other shooting? You said other than just having lunch.
I've been wanting to get Popeye out again for a bit. That'd be fun. I think that the hockey shot could be fun. I'm not a hockey fan, but Canadian Winter Gomez beckons. Um, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I might want to do a couple of. I had an idea for Burner Vapor,
Hmm.
or as I call my Pete Davidson figure. Um, but I tried to size him up with the other figure, and it didn't work. I want him to be smaller, so that didn't work much. But yeah, just wheels are turning. Wheels are turning. I'll see. I know I have Krang on pre-order. He should be shipping out soon. The cartoon Krang. He looks great.
Yeah.
I know that I'm getting the Ghostbusters. I traded the Ghostbusters for some Star Wars figures, the Mezco Ghostbusters. So I won't be getting the
Mm.
tin, but I'll get them in bags. So I'll be happy to get that. And yeah, my Batman should be coming in shortly, and that I'm looking for shortly in the next 3 months. I should be able to, but that I'm looking forward to quite a bit. You know, so that I
Yeah.
can take a really good grim shot of that fucker.
Well, I'm sure that
Yeah.
will come out great. Can't wait to see that, man.
Yeah.
So,
Spider-Man. I want to do Spider-Man too. Mr. Lee today posted a picture of Miles fighting Kingpin, and then I was like, huh, maybe I could be inspired by Mr. Lee and grab out my Kingpin figure too and put him against Miles. That'd be fun.
you think Mezco should do a Kingpin figure?
Yeah.
I
I
think
think they
that'd be a
should
fun one.
on the Bluto body. And I definitely think that they should have a Miles figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have the Vapor body, so I mean that could be working.
Yeah. I
That could be
mean,
good.
hopefully eventually, right, man? They need
Well,
more.
so I
They
mean,
need
the
more Spider-Man.
Sentinel's great, and I think that that's the size he should be.
Mm.
You know what I
The
mean?
new
If
one
I
that they
were,
just released.
yeah, Sentinels. That's the one I shot, the Sentinel Spider-Man, and I don't like calling him Miles Morales. It kind of deflates the idea that he's Spider-Man. To me, he's fucking Spider-Man, so I call him Spider-Man now.
Uh-huh.
I'm tired of Peter Parker. I'm like, we've seen all of his stories. Give me a new Spider-Man. I want that Spider-Man. So yeah, I think that would be a really great one. But the Sentinel Spider-Man, the one that I'm talking about, I think he's the perfect size, and I think that if they were to use the Vapor body, he'd be too big. They'd
Mm.
have to retool a completely different body if they were going to do the Miles. But we'll see.
All right. Well, so I guess we'll see. Like you said, I mean, they
Yeah,
are working on Robin, so maybe they'll be able to use that
yeah,
body.
that was fun to see. People were like, "Ah, here you go. Shut the fuck up. We're gonna give you your Robin."
Like finally, all these Batman and no
Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah, we gave a decent explanation. I understood Bez when he talked about Robin. I
I
completely
honestly,
agree with him.
no, I agree with him too. Same. It's like I don't see my Batman with the Robin running around with the little kid, fighting crime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was like
totally agree
dressed in
with him.
primary colors, like it's completely against the stealth operation that Batman's going through.
Well, it's because Batman's out in the shadows. Well, he's like, okay, Robin, go out there, draw their
Exactly,
fire, and then I'll pop up
exactly.
behind them.
And then he
It's like,
cries when Robin dies. It's like, my plan failed.
you mean it succeeded? You're alive. You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
Oh.
we'll have to see. Hopefully we'll see a prototype for that in 2022. I mean, Toy Fair is coming up, right, in
Oh,
February or
yeah,
something like that.
definitely. 100%. I'm positive.
So hopefully, I mean, what is that? Toy Fair's in New York, isn't it?
No clue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm in the Canadians, man, so there's nothing comes my way. I have to make my
Yeah.
way over there.
Have you ever come over this way or no?
No.
No,
Nope.
no
I spent
interest.
my time in. No, it's not no interest at all. I've actually always been interested. Most of my studies involve American culture. The only thing is that it's exactly that. I just spent too much time reading books and less time traveling, and so I haven't made it to the United States yet, which is ridiculous when you think about it, because it's just right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, my wife and I are looking into doing it. She's gone through most of the states, so she knows
Oh wow.
stuff. And I have people that I know pretty much everywhere in the United States. So it's actually kind of ridiculous that I haven't made it there yet. Yeah,
Well,
but
I'm
it's
sure
just
one time. I'm
yeah,
sure you'll do it soon.
it's a combination of studying and having my kids young. So
Well, at least now you're probably getting to the point where you'll be able to get to that, and travel and stuff, and hopefully
oh yeah,
restrictions
yeah,
will lessen up and stuff.
fuck yeah, I hope so. I'm just trying to go see my buddy in France, and I've been putting it off. Just like fuck, we can't go because so yeah.
Everything, yeah. Well, hopefully 22 is better with all of this stuff. Hopefully everything changes come summertime and everything opens up and we're past all this. I don't know. I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
not an expert. I'm not a scientist.
Neither am I. Neither is Joe Rogan. So fuck him.
Apparently, when this whole pandemic happened, everybody became a scientist and an expert and everything. So
Yeah, I'll keep the rest of it to myself because it's depressing.
yeah, we want to
Oh,
keep it light and happy here, just like you and Paige
absolutely.
do. So
Trying.
I guess that's pretty much it on my end, and it seems like you've pretty much said everything you wanted to say, right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm gonna go see my wife because, like I said, she's working tomorrow, and I'll spend a little bit more time before she actually heads to bed. So, yep.
All right, well, I'll let you spend some time with your wife then.
Thanks, sir.
Just want to say thank you so much once again for coming on
No.
here. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, you are, I know you don't like to think of it this way, but social media famous in a sense. You have your following and everything. So I appreciate you responding to me and taking time out of your busy day and your busy schedule to come on and talk some toys. I know you and Paige do this weekly and stuff, so I know asking you to do another show, it's, sometimes a lot for some people and stuff. So like I said, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. I know time is, very precious to everybody. So thank you so much. And thank you for helping me kick off my new weekly series. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's
man.
fitting that you and Paige were the first two guests because you guys inspired it and helped me, give me the confidence because I'm used to being behind a camera and hiding behind editing tools. I can edit if I fluff up a word, if I mistake or something, I can go back and edit it. We're here, it's just like it's live. I can't make mistakes. I gotta be on point and stuff. So thank you for guys giving me the motivation and the confidence to do this and connect with more creators, in the industry. And me personally, I'm just not too much of an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert, even though it doesn't seem like it with me reaching
No,
out to you and
same.
everything. But that's what kind of pushed me to want to reach out to other people. It's like you guys connecting, and then I saw him with Plastique and stuff, and I know
Yeah.
you go on other people's not podcasts but lives and whatnot. So that motivated me to reach out, and thankfully I've gotten a pretty decent response. Most of the people that I've reached out to have responded, and whether they've responded with saying yes or no, I greatly appreciate just the response in general. Obviously I've had a few people that have left me on red, but it is what it is. But to those of you that have not, especially you, Jason, thank you so much. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I just want to say once again, thank you so much for helping me kick off the first ever Coffee and Toys Live. I mean, technically, I guess Paige was on the first one, but that was more of like a precursor to this. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to all the work that you're going to do in 2022. Like I said, I don't think you're going to be boring anybody anytime soon, especially with your
Thanks, man.
mentality of wanting to push and, constantly be one-upping yourself. You're constantly going to be doing something great. So thank you so much. You not only motivate and inspire me to do this, but also in my toy photography. Like I said, with your lighting, your posing and everything, I look at that and I take and I'm like, okay, well, what can this do? Kind of like when you did your Rumble Society Star Wars crossover pick. I kind of already had that idea in my mind. And then I saw you post it, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna get my ass up and go do that pick now. You know what I mean? So you're very inspiring and very motivating, man. And like I said, I look forward to all the work you're gonna do in 2022. I look forward to collaborating with you, and I hope to see you on the show again. I really do hope you
Oh yeah,
would be
anytime,
willing
man.
to come on. You know,
All
so
good. Yeah. No, I owe my thanks to you guys. I mean, like, we get invitations and stuff, but at the same time, it's always fun to talk with people that are having fun doing this too. So yeah, no, I'm like I said, like Bananas once told me that he's only a guy taking pictures of toys, and I'm exactly the same, just a dude taking pictures of toys. So no, don't be afraid. I'm glad you reached out. This was super fun. So yeah, no, man, I appreciate everything you said. But yeah, back at you. You know, stay motivated, do your things and all that stuff, and everything should be good. But yeah, no, this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to tuning into more of your series and all that stuff. So if you want to have me on again anytime, absolutely, that'd be my pleasure.
sounds good, man. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Do you want to plug anything? I know you just started, or you just had the new website that you do for your prints now. Did you want to let people know about that?
Nah, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep that going. I don't. It's because like I had a bunch of people talk to me after that. Like, do you know what the print quality is like? And I was like, you know what? I don't. Normally, I'm the one that like prints. I'll have my prints here, you know, and I send them out and all that stuff. It's just that I was trying to find something that was less time consuming and a little bit less pricey as well. You know, people can get bigger pictures for lesser price because, you know, it costs me money to print them on photo paper, matte paper, and all that stuff. I sign them all individually and stuff, and so it just becomes a process where I'm like, fuck, it's so long to do that, and so. But this was kind of cutting a corner, and I didn't kind of. Usually, I'm the type of person that's going to be really anal about this stuff. You know, I remember having to, you know, really get into arguments with the people that were printing out my pictures. Like, these aren't the fucking colors that I sent you guys. This isn't the fucking framing either. What the hell are you guys doing to my pictures? Yeah. My name is supposed to be here. This is colors. That's supposed to be red. And, you know, I even had to file a complaint with the people that were handling this stuff. And so I was talking to the head office in a different city, you know, explaining to them, hey, these guys are fucking up my prints all the time, and it's costing me money and time. I have people waiting for this stuff. And so then I just got this wild hair up my ass where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this. And then I was like, but then it's just me trying to let go of a little bit of control. But then people started making me panic about it again. Like, do you know what you're sending people? And I was like, I have no fucking clue. Maybe maybe I shouldn't do that. So I might actually just delete that. So I don't really have anything to plug. I have a bunch of prints here if anybody is interested, you know, so just send me a DM. That'd be great. But no, other than that, no, I'm just looking forward to heading back to work in about a week and a half time. So,
are you guys going back to class, or are you guys still doing that online?
It depends. Like right now, we're gonna have our meetings online, so that's gonna be okay because I don't mind that. But you know, having people in physical classes is so much better than, you know, online shit. So technically my first class is supposed to be on January 21st. So that's still in a little bit of time. I'm talking about 2.5 weeks. So hopefully by that time, I think that with the measures that they've put in place and the curfew and all that stuff, they're trying to get everybody back into class at the same time. So fingers crossed that actually happens. So I'm going to if everyone is you know, doing their part, then there shouldn't be an issue, you know, because everyone still wears their masks in class and all that stuff, and I can take mine off because I'm like 8 feet in front of everybody else and all that stuff. So it's not as bad. But yeah, hopefully I'll be back in class. I want that. That's definitely what I would like to have.
Oh yeah, kind of like we were talking about at the beginning, you know, just it's better being in class and you're more attentive in anyways as a student, and probably as a teacher you can feed off the class. You can see faces and whatnot. I see where they're confused, where they're not.
Exactly. That helps
just
a lot.
Blank computer screen.
Yeah, you're just kind of like looking around, and at one point you realize there's one person that's just like, I didn't get that shit at all. And you're like, okay. Whereas on a computer screen, like it's just troublesome because you want them to turn on their cameras, and most of them don't. And you're just teaching blank screens, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
I was probably one of those corporates. I was just like, I'm gonna watch TV and listen to you in the background.
Yeah, you know, it's not. I don't find it insulting or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. It's not my education. You know what I mean? I've done my part. I've studied. I've got my degrees and everything. That's totally fine. But to them, I'm like, you're paying to be here, and this is the way you're spending your money? That's pretty weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, there's that whole culture of going to college and partying. So, that's the same thing. They
It's
go to
still
pay and
expensive.
no, that's exactly what I'm getting at. They pay to party and fuck up, but they're paying a lot of money. Where my mentality was the opposite. When I was in high school, I was like, well, I'm going for free. I can party and have fun. Where when I went to college, it's like, okay, I got to hit the books. I got to study. I got to pass because
Yeah.
there's no way in hell I want to be retaking classes and paying more than what I already have to.
Mm-hmm. No, it becomes nuts at one point.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man.
All right, sounds good, man. Thank you so much, like I said, for joining me for the first episode. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you on again, and I can't wait to see your future shots. And we'll talk more in the DMs about our collaboration and whatnot. So look forward to that.
Cool.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night, and hopefully talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Thanks, man.
All right, take it easy, man.
Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at CoolFigurez. And I do have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. Check it out if you like what you see. Leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys want to see the unboxing of any figures I do reviews on for this channel, go ahead and check me out over on TikTok at CoolFigurez. That's where I post all my unboxings. And join me every Sunday morning for Coffee and Toys, a weekly toy news, toy talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, and so much more. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. But whether or not you're a subscriber, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really appreciate it. As always, I'm your host, Jess the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you so much to this channel sponsor, Coolerare Store. Check them out for all your Funko Pop, anime, Pokemon card, and toy print needs. And of course, use code CoolFigurez at checkout for 10% off your order. Coolerare Store. Check them out, guys.